Hey everyone, Fury here, back with the MadCap report with Malcolm Wright.
What's up, people?
We're back.
Back at it again.
Alright, we've got a lot coming up in this MadCap report, given the fact we skipped last week due to the Super Bowl, which was an interesting game.
Don't even get me started. Let's not go there.
Let's not go there. So we've got a lot of things to cover. We're going to, of course, start with our comic picks for the week.
Weeks.
Yeah, we are including some of last week's comics. We will talk about the current TV shows, including the two new shows, Powerless and Legion. We'll talk about movies where Josh Mason from Mason Studios will be giving us his review of John Wick Chapter 2.
Looking forward to that myself. I haven't seen it yet.
Probably gonna go see it after we finish here. Just so you know, I'm probably leaving here to go see it.
Awesome.
Even though there's quite a few other movies I wanted to see, I definitely want to see it because I just watched John Wick Chapter 1, the first one, last night again for like the 5th time. So we will be doing all of that. You know, we've got quite a show ahead of us.
Yeah.
And of course, we will touch on gaming. Such as the Injustice 2 confirmed roster thus far, Mass Effect Andromeda coming out soon, and a couple other things. So we have all that coming up today on the MadCap report. Why don't you start with the comic picks, Malcolm?
Alright, I'm going to do my comic picks for the past 2 weeks. And let me make this statement before we get into these comic picks. We decide to stick to only 4 comics each for time reasons. But there are many, many, many great titles that came out both this week and last week that probably would have made the cut if we decided to have more time for comic picks.
We could probably spend the entire day talking about comics, the entire 2-hour show. We could dedicate just to comics.
But we won't do that today.
We won't do that today. One day we'll have to do that. We'll have to do a show that's just comics.
Yes. But today what I have is 2 good picks from the past week in DC and 2 good picks from the last 2 weeks in Marvel. And I'm going to start with my DC picks with one of my unexpected favorite series, Superwoman. This week's issue is number 7. It is the culmination of a great storyline that's been building up for the first 7 issues. And let's see. Written by Phil Jimenez with pencils and inks by Jack Herbert and Matt Santorelli.
And by the way, to any of the writers, artists that we butcher the names of, we do apologize.
We try, but we're not perfect.
No.
So this is a great storyline about Clark Kent's childhood friend, Lana Lang, who was present at the death of the New 52 version of Superman. And because she was there and was kind of in the blast radius of the way he died.
Yeah, blast radius, that works.
That's one way to put it. It's a very complicated story.
It is.
Which to read, go find some New 52 action
Read the
comics.
last 10 issues of Superman, Action Comics, Batman, Justice League. They cross over everything there. Read those last 10 issues that have anything to do with Superman, and it'll be great.
Yeah. So what happens is, because she is in the blast radius when he dies, she ends up getting a version of his powers that may be familiar for 90s comic fans. I believe this was the storyline from the 90s, right?
It was based. I think it was based heavily on one. It was very similar.
I'm talking about Superman, right?
Yeah.
From that 90s.
Yes, that was 90s.
All right. So this is from. The powers she gets are based very heavily on the Superman Red thing that happened in the 90s. There was a whole event that really started with Superman Blue, who Lois Lane, the New 52 version of Lois Lane, was also in the blast radius, and she got powers similar to Superman Blue, but she also died in the first issue of Superwoman, which is kind of a shame.
Only leaves Legacy Lois now, thank God.
New 52 Lois wasn't that bad.
Right, sure.
Anyway, this is a culmination of a storyline in which Lana has faced up against originally what she thinks are the evil machinations of Lex Luthor, but what eventually turns out to be the much worse evil machinations of Lena Luthor, who was angry not only at the world, but very much so at her brother, because he has been hiding her from the public eye for years. He claims for her own good,
right,
but she does not feel that way about it.
Oh, come on, it's Lex. You know he's full of...
Most people don't feel that way about it. In fact, in issue number 6, I believe, Lana dresses him down very thoroughly for his own perverted perspective on his relationship with his sister, which Lex Luthor, during the time of the New 52, he has tried to put on a different image from what we're used to in Lex Luthor, even at one point working with the Justice League. It's true.
I know, but if anyone actually bought his BS...
Yeah. So that was a very interesting time. And you might have thought, maybe, this is a new version of Lex. Maybe he can change. But what you really see in this series is that he is still the evil, manipulative, egomaniac son of a gun that he has always been.
That wasn't the word I was going to use.
But needless to say, you see some very interesting things in this storyline with Lana and her supporting cast, who includes both versions of Steel, John Henry Irons, and his niece.
Excellent, because both versions are awesome.
Yes. And a very cool story about Metropolis in peril, time displacement, Bizarro clones, the works. Like, there are a lot of things going on, and it's all fun to read with really well done art and excellent dialogue. Like, I cannot praise Philip Jimenez enough for his dialogue in the Superwoman series, because I was very skeptical about this series when it first came out.
Oh, so was I. But I bought it anyway just to see.
And it has been a very pleasant surprise. And I don't know how many issues you can find at your local comic book shop. Maybe sometime soon you can get the trade paperback. But it's a great storyline, and you should check it out if you can.
I'm kind of the opinion that DC's just killing it with Rebirth right now.
Oh, yeah. They really brought their A game, which is saying a lot, because their A game is equal to most people's S-class game.
Yeah.
And moving on to more of that A game quality content from DC, I have my next DC pick, which is Wonder Woman issue number 16. It is part 1 of a new story arc for people who are just jumping in. It has ties to a previous story arc, which the Wonder Woman series for Rebirth is doing a very interesting thing where the even number issues have one storyline and the odd number issues have another storyline. And I do believe the even numbers have been dealing a lot with
the past,
her origins, the beginnings of her career in superheroing, all that good stuff. And this issue continues that, but it's a new arc about the beginning of her career called God Watch. And this is part 1. And it is a very interesting story because there are a lot of people having very different reactions to her. And the way she fights and the reasons why she fights. And you get to see fun things like just on the first page, They regale you with stories of some of her adventures, including fighting a chimera who she doesn't kill, but instead leaves at a national zoo, which is really cool. If only...
Only in DC could you go to the zoo and see a chimera.
Only. So we
They
also...
don't even do that in Marvel.
We also see the beginnings of a technology I do believe will come into play further down the line in Wonder Woman comics called the Cyber Walker, made by a company called Empire Industries. Names to remember because I do believe we'll see them maybe not necessarily facing off with Wonder Woman, but they do not necessarily gel, so to speak. And we also have, even on top of all that, meddling gods, because what's a Wonder Woman comic without meddling gods?
Boring.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, unless we're gonna do the love triangle between her, Bruce, and Clark. I
don't think that's going to happen at this point.
No, it's not gonna happen in this new one because Clark's married to Lois with its son.
Yeah. So with this series, we have Greg Rucka writing it with pencils by Bilquis Evely. Very cool name. With inks by Bilquis with Mark Morales, Andrew Hennessy, and Raul Fernandez. And
I like how you said that, but oh.
but this is another DC series with a lot of great art and great dialogue. And if you're a fan of Wonder Woman and you've been wondering about the comics, no pun intended, you should check out this Rebirth series. It's very much going to the core of her character, getting rid of a lot of bells and whistles just to tell a story about Diana, sometimes Cheetah, one of her classic adversaries.
Absolutely.
Steve Trevor, one of her most iconic allies.
And love interests.
Yes, that too. And you should check it out at your local comic book shop.
Which, if you're in Collierville, Tennessee, that's Jupiter Comics.
Yes, Jupiter Comics here in scenic Collierville, Tennessee. If you're in the Memphis area, there are a few other places you can go. But I love coming to Jupiter Comics. They're a very friendly, accommodating, welcoming place. And if you're ever in the general Memphis area and you want to check out a comic book shop, Jupiter should definitely be on your list.
Absolutely.
So moving on to Marvel. I'm going to start with a comic that came out last week, actually, and that is Moon Knight. Issue number 11, written by Jeff Lemire with art by Greg Smallwood. This is part 2 of a new storyline that started a couple of weeks ago with issue number 10. If you go to your local comic book shop, you should probably be able to find them both. And this storyline is going and delving into Moon Knight's past. It is, in fact, the first time I've ever read anything directly addressing some of the things that went on during his childhood. Which, Moon Knight is a very interesting character. He lives with dissociative identity disorder, more commonly known as multiple personality disorder in the mainstream lexicon.
Yes, it is.
And one thing you find out is that his other alters started to manifest very early in his childhood. And he spent a good bit of his young years in and out of treatment, trying different medications, things like that. And it had a detrimental effect on his life in that, he didn't get to live the average childhood, which is always unfortunate. But what is great about it is that even going through all of that, his main desire was to do things for the forces of good and help defeat the forces of evil. And this issue, number 11, the main story is about his short time in the U.S. military, which he snuck into the military because obviously they wouldn't let him in under normal circumstances.
No, not in any way, shape, or form.
Which I say his short time because he is eventually caught in his lie and dishonorably discharged. But during his time in Iraq, after that, we get to see him meet one of his classic comrades from the comics, Jean-Paul, aka Frenchie, and it's a great storyline they're doing right now, going back into his origin. And if you don't know Moon Knight, this is a great point to jump in because you're going to learn a lot about the character. And while his books are always a very cerebral mind trip because you're not always sure what's real and what's not, this will tell you a lot of his real story from the beginning. And, with a character like this, an opportunity like that, it's more than golden.
Yes, absolutely. I'm not a huge Moon Knight fan, but my brother is actually. My brother reads Moon Knight. Yeah. So I know a little bit about the character, which is one of the reasons I haven't commented much.
Yeah. I haven't read much Moon Knight before this run, but it's all been done pretty well. The writing has been excellent. There's been some beautiful art throughout the whole series with a lot of different settings.
I do love the art. I do love the art. The art is very cool. I do love it. The art is incredible. But
yes.
Not one of my favorites. Although I do love how the positive attitude towards mental illness Marvel has taken recently.
Yeah. Also, as a side note, because this doesn't get pointed out often, Moon Knight is one of the few, the proud Jewish superheroes in comics. Which there are a lot of superheroes created by Jewish people. Not all of them end up being Jewish themselves.
And one of the most prominent in DC is Batwoman.
Yes.
Which raises the question: given the fact that she's Bruce's cousin, is Bruce Jewish?
You know what? They are related on his mother's side.
Yeah.
Batman could possibly be Jewish.
Except we always see him celebrating Christmas. So.
Yeah. Who knows?
So in other words, Bruce is half Jewish.
Yeah. What do you know? I never thought about that.
Yeah.
But, since I've gone on this little tangent, a couple of other prominent Jewish comic book characters are Kitty Pryde.
Absolutely, one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. And Ben Grimm of the Fantastic Four. And there are actually a lot more out there, but I cannot remember all of their names off the top of my head right now. But if you're like me and you love seeing characters that have something in common with you, that is something to look into, because there are Jewish characters out there, and comic book writers these days are doing a great job of bringing that representation into the stories without
changing who the character is.
Yeah, or turning it into a joke.
Yeah,
there's no jokes about taking Yom Kippur off or things like that.
Yeah, no.
Which, nothing wrong with taking Yom Kippur off, but I'm sure no one wants to deal with jokes about it.
No one does.
But moving on, my other pick for Marvel is one of my favorite series Marvel is releasing right now.
A series that is definitely not for children.
Definitely not for children. Parental Advisory, not for kids. Jessica Jones, #5, with the original Alias creative team, Brian Michael Bendis writing with art by Michael Gaydos. So you get that beautiful classic Alias art style.
Which is really cool.
It's very distinctive. It's very emotive. And it's just beautiful to look at, honestly. I've always liked the way superheroes look in costume with this art style.
Yeah.
And this is an interesting storyline. So there are a few things going on with Jessica at the moment. One of them being she has gone undercover in a way to rat out a secret anti-superhero group that is slowly trying to build its numbers right now.
Let's see that. You keep going. We just want to look at something here.
All right. So in order to do this, she has had a manufactured fall from grace that includes her being estranged from her husband, superhero Luke Cage, which when I first started reading was very disappointing to see because they're one of the best couples in comic books. Like, hands down, one of the best, in my opinion. Fight me on that if you want to. But no. But like, she is also trying to be a private eye again. And she has taken the case and it has led to some very dark places that I won't go into. But I will say that if you're familiar...
I was looking at the back page of that. That is a pretty dark place she's walking into there.
Yeah. A woman hires her to trail her husband, and there are some complications in the case because of all the other things going on in Jessica's life. And I won't go into what happens because I kind of can ramble about it because it's a very complex issue, but it's intense.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say, it is a great read. It's some of Brian Michael Bendis' best work at Marvel right now. It's some of the best work coming out of Marvel right now, in my opinion. I'm biased on that because I love the character, though. So, grain of salt.
Yeah. Oh, God, don't. No. Do not do that. Do not go there, please. Really? Are we doing a meme show now or what?
But yeah, anyway, if you like the Jessica Jones Netflix series, if you read any of her original appearances in the Marvel Universe way back in the Marvel Max days, you would enjoy this series, and you should check it out at your local comic book shop. And I'll turn it over to Fury.
All right, since you finished with Marvel, I think I'll start there. My picks are going to be from Marvel. Where are we? Here we are. Sorry. I'm going to start with The Unworthy Thor.
The Unworthy Thor.
This is a great comic. I'm not going to go very deeply into it, simply because we are getting close to the end of that storyline. This is a 5-issue series. We are in issue 4. So we are coming to the end of this storyline. We are at the climax. So basically what's happened here is Thor has fallen from grace after the end of Original Sin. He's been kind of a background character very much. In fact, he's not even being called Thor right now. He's being called the Odin's son.
He refuses to answer to the name Thor.
He is Odin's son. So he is going to try and claim another hammer, the hammer of the Ultimate Thor.
Which, during the Secret Wars event that happened last summer, came through the multiverse and landed in Asgard here in the mainstream Marvel Universe.
But Asgard was abandoned at this point in time and only exists as Asgardia.
So people didn't know it was there.
Exactly.
Until now.
So he has limited allies. This is Thor down to his core, as it were.
Yeah.
He's got Beta Ray Bill and his trusty ram steed.
Yes.
That he rides through the universe on. Can I just say that one of the funniest things I've ever seen is Thor riding on a ram.
Yes.
Is there a scene in that?
I don't think there's any scenes of it in this issue.
But but the thing is, Thor is having to really try to compete for this hammer because everyone is after it. It's not just him; it's everyone. Everyone wants this hammer.
Some very big players in the Marvel Cosmic Universe.
Most of them are not people we'd want getting it.
Yeah. If you saw the cover, you might recognize 2 of the other people on the cover as associates of a certain cosmic being who definitely does not need to get his hands on a hammer.
One of them is part of the Black Order.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah. I mean, let's be blunt. That's who it is sitting right there.
Yeah.
And there are so many people involved with this book right now. Writer Jason Aaron, artists. It's got so many. I'm not even going to touch because I'm looking. It's got 7 artists.
Yeah. The principal artist being.
Well, see, that's just it. Because it's split between different timelines, they have different artists for different timelines.
Good point. Sheesh. I will say one good thing about this storyline and this issue in particular that I can discuss without spoiling anything is that it deals a lot with Thor's relationship with the hammer.
Yeah.
Specifically his time before he was worthy at the beginning and his quest to become worthy
after Nick Fury made him unworthy with a whisper.
Yeah.
A whisper! That alone proves that Old Man Nick is one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe, even before he became the Unseen, because he beat the Avengers.
Yes.
And he beat one of them with a whisper. A whisper.
Heavy stuff, folks.
I admit, I'm a bit of a Nick Fury fanboy, but that just tickles me. I'll be the first to admit it. But Unworthy Thor, definitely on your should-read list.
Yes.
Moving on. We both know I love Hawkeye.
Yes.
I love all incarnations. I love Lucky, his dog. Only Lucky is share, or Pizza Dog as he's called in the early days. I also love his somewhat part-time successor / partner / sidekick,
Yeah.
Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop.
And while Clint Barton Hawkeye is off being in Occupy Avengers, which is another great book, folks, you should check out. But we're not going to talk about Occupy Avengers. Kate Bishop is the one who is headlining in Hawkeye. It's on issue 3. On the very front it says, "The hate for Kate escalates."
Yep.
Really rhyming?
Mm-hmm.
They're stealing Dick Grayson's shtick there. Only if they start doing holy stuff, I'm going to go reeling.
It kind of fits for Kate, though.
Yeah, it does. She is kind of the Marvel equivalent of Dick Grayson in some ways these days.
Yeah.
I love her. Writer is Kelly Thompson, and artist is Leonardo Romero. And I love the art in this book. I really do.
It's a very distinct art style, and
we're just getting into the story. Kate is in California.
yeah.
She is running her own detective agency. It's called Hawkeye Investigations, and it says Hawk, and then it's got an I underneath in the Investigations.
Which nobody understands the logo.
I got it!
In the comic itself,
Yeah.
nobody understands the logo,
Yeah.
which is hilarious.
Yeah. So she's running her own investigations, and she's taking some lessons, I suppose you could say, a little bit, like in the previous issue, from Jessica Jones.
Yes.
So she is, she's kind of filling a need in the West Coast that Jessica fills on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. She's currently on the run from some well, not exactly on the run, but she's currently dealing with an organization that's...
Yes, her first case has put her in the crosshairs for what seems to be either cult or secret society building itself up in the city. And basically the hate for Kate escalates in that the group is starting to pay more attention to her because she's paying more attention to them.
Yeah, and you know what? Kate Bishop is one of my favorite characters in Marvel. To ever come out of the Young Avengers initiative, she is.
Yeah.
She really is such a cool character. One of the coolest ones that came out of Young Avengers. Mm-hmm. Because she wouldn't take on the name Hawkeye until Cap started calling her that.
Yeah. Which is funny because she eventually became, to a lot of characters, the cool Hawkeye. which amuses me to no end.
And there was actually the previous Hawkeye comic they shared, and it used to be, which one was the main focus, and they'd cross out the other one's name and say the other Hawkeye or the cool Hawkeye or the real Hawkeye.
What?
You remember that?
Yeah.
I would buy that comic sometimes just to see what they were saying about one another there.
Yeah, and that reminds me, a recent run of New Avengers had Clint Barton join the team, and when he shows up, the leader is like, "What? This is what we're getting? I thought we were getting the cool Hawkeye."
Oh, yes, I heard about that. I was like, damn. Poor Clint.
He said it right in his face. It was hilarious.
Oh, poor Clint. All right, moving on to DC. There's been many incarnations of the Justice League of America.
Yes, there have been.
I think this is without doubt the most unique we've ever seen.
That's putting it lightly.
Justice League America Rebirth #1, which is the one-shot that's going to launch the series, came out this past week. I have read it.
I have to.
And I fell in love. I am automatically on board with this. Because it's a team of mortals. They're not the immortal gods like Wonder Woman and Superman and the Lanterns.
Well, with one exception.
He doesn't count. But it's characters that are kind of, there's about two of them, definitely. They're kind of sketchy.
Yeah. Yeah, sketchy is a good way to put it.
Okay, because Batman has basically put together a team that's very reminiscent of his old 1980s Outsiders team.
That's what I always felt like, yes. That's how I would describe it.
It's very reminiscent of the Outsiders team Batman put together back in the 80s and ran with for a while when he got kicked out of the league.
Yeah.
He put together his own superhero team. They were called the Outsiders, and they were B and C list heroes.
Yep.
But this time he's taken two villains, Green Arrow's girlfriend, the Atom, Vixen, and Ray, and put them on the team. So, Batman is leading the new Justice League of America. This comic is written by Steve Orlando. Primary artists are Ivan Reis, Joe Prado, and Auclair Albert.
Auclair Albert. Sorry, Mr. Albert, but
anyway, this is it, and it is awesome.
So this this first issue is,
like we said, it's the one shot that's beginning,
and it's literally the play-by-play of Batman going around recruiting the members.
I just noticed where they are.
Yeah,
they're in Happy Harbor, which if you watched Young Justice, that's where their base was located. They're inside Mount Justice. That's where their headquarters is going to be. Yeah. I just realized that. That just now clicked with me because I forgot to read. I missed reading this bit. Yeah. So the headquarters for Justice League America is going to be Mount Justice.
Yes.
And one of the first member that Bruce recruits is Caitlin Snow, also known as Killer Frost. Killer Frost is working on her redemption. This is part of her redemption arc is going through JLA, and she is now working to be a hero.
Which, if you're wondering how Caitlin Snow has managed to make the jump from villain to hero, go to your local comic book shop and check out the story Justice League versus Suicide Squad.
Which is an awesome storyline.
It will also explain a couple of the other recruits Bruce has made for this team.
And you know what? You've never seen us live action before. I realize that. So you're seeing all the things we usually do. I'm a very animated person. Malcolm will tell you this.
Yes.
And so now you're seeing me as I am, which is kind of bouncing off the walls when I'm excited about something. And this excites me. Yeah. This really does. Because we're seeing, we've got Killer Frost. He recruits. Black Canary is the conscience of the team, which is awesome.
Yep.
And then, and I'm going to tell you in the order he recruits them. It's Killer Frost, then Canary, followed by, believe it or not, that intergalactic biker,
The main man himself, Lobo.
My brother's going to love that, by the way, because he's a Lobo fanboy.
Yeah.
But Lobo is a member of the Justice League America. He too is working towards his redemption.
I know one Lobo fan who probably will not believe that Lobo has joined the Justice League, but it happened.
Yes, he is now a member of the League. And of course, the new Adam.
Ryan Choi.
Yeah, Ryan Choi, because Professor Palmer is kind of MIA at the moment.
Yes. In fact, Bruce showed up looking for Ray Palmer, the Adam we're all familiar with, especially if you watch the DC shows on the CW. He is currently missing, like he tends to be sometimes. Sometimes he goes missing.
It is non-common for Ray to disappear for a few years at a time and then reappear right when they need him most. That's non-common.
So Ryan Choi has joined the team.
Yes, and now the current Adam can actually travel along Wi-Fi and everything through computers.
Yeah, he can digitize himself like he's a Pokemon or something.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool. And, of course,
he is sent to recruit
the Ray, which, the Ray has been in DC Comics off and on for a while. I mean, you can go back to the 90s and the like, and he had his own run then. He's had runs before. It's just off and on.
Mm-hmm. Which, if you're unfamiliar with the character, the Ray, a few weeks ago, DC released a one-shot that basically goes over his backstory again.
Yeah, it reintroduces you to certain characters that are going to be in this comic. They did one for the Atom, one for Vixen, and one for Ray.
Yeah, and one for Killer Frost detailing.
Yeah, I need to get the Killer Frost one. I don't have it.
It's a great read.
So, of course, I've mentioned Vixen. She is the next recruit. I think that's cool that Vixen is going to be one of the main characters of this team.
Yes. Vixen is a character that's been sorely underused as of late in DC Comics.
Yeah, because she's just so busy with everything else she does, really, in a lot of ways. And she goes into saying that in the comic. She's got her foundation, she's got her business, she's got her modeling, and the press treats her superheroing like it's a hobby. So it's really cool. And they have their own little teleporters. They can fit in the palm of your hand. In fact, Bruce holds it between his thumb and middle and forefingers like this.
It looks like a flash drive.
It does. And it says JLA on it. It's really cool.
Which I kind of want a flash drive that says JLA now.
So do I, actually. So that is the lineup for the team. And, I mean, think about that. These are all characters that can die.
Yeah.
Even Lobo can die.
Yeah.
None of them are truly immortal. So, except maybe Bruce. I sometimes
He has the best power of all, plot armor.
Yeah. he's in Batman as introduced by Frank Miller in All-Star Batman. And I poke fun and everything, but I'm a huge Batman fan. And I have loved what they've done with Batman and the entire Bat family.
Oh, yeah. They've been doing the Bat family really good, except for Tim.
We'll see that come back. If you don't know, everyone thinks Tim's dead right now, but he isn't. He's alive.
It's a long story.
It's a very long story. Read Batman.
Read Detective Comics.
Detective Comics, yes, thank you. So that's happening, and it is awesome. Moving on to my final pick. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the Bat family, and going on to that, another super team that Black Canary is a member of.
Yep.
The Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, which Birds of Play. Birds of Prey. They're not Playboy bunnies. But
Although I'm sure if you scour the internet,
yeah,
you
you
can find
probably
that.
could. Yeah. Although with Black Canary, given the fact she's back in the fishnets,
Yeah.
there's been a. They've got Batgirl basically headlining 2 titles right now,
Yeah.
and she can carry it now.
Yeah, she can.
This new version of Barbara that we got in the New 52. The New 52 has a lot to answer for, but it did a few things right, one of which was Barbara.
Yeah, like before the New 52, Barbara Gordon went through some terrible things.
And those things are still part of her backstory. She has been Oracle in this story.
Yes.
It's just it was for a short period of time.
But finally, we got a Batgirl story in the New 52 and continuing that with a Rebirth that isn't her basically going from one personal tragedy to the next.
Yes.
Which happens a lot in a lot of other DC continuities.
Yes. This is Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, Soldiers of Fortune. I'm actually still in the process of reading it. The reason I picked it is I just love the series so much. I'm still reading this. I have not finished it.
I need to catch up on that
Yes.
title, to be honest.
It is number 7, and the writer is. If I can find. See, I wish they would put them all in the front again like they used to, but they don't. They spread them out through the thing.
DC has a trend now where
There, it's at the back.
the creative team could be listed anywhere in the issue.
Yeah, it's Julie and Shauna Benson. Are they related? I think there's something.
Possibly. I'm going to have to look into that.
Well-
And I would suggest you all do the same out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now. Actually, artist Claire Rowe. It's actually the primary creative team on this is all female, which is unusual in comics.
It's unusual in comics, but sorely needed in comics.
Yes, I'll give you that. It's a heavily male-dominated profession, absolutely.
I will just say that I always love to see female characters written by women. Because there is, not to discount male writers, but there's a certain nuance to female characters that
They are sisters.
I find that women can handle really well.
Yeah.
Like, as a slight tangent, there's an upcoming series about Batwoman,
I've got that on my pre-order list.
and that is being helmed by a creative team that is mainly women, and I have very high hopes for it.
All right. But like I said, I'm currently in the process of reading this, so I'm not going to tell you much about it. I'm just saying, Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, pick it up. It is such an awesome story.
If you like Batgirl, if you like Black Canary,
If you like Huntress,
if you've been wondering where Huntress is, or if you know where Huntress is and you've been wanting her to put the costume back on, this is the series for you.
yes, absolutely. And, you know, I'm old school. I remember when I have one of those DC2 comics that was the Huntress comic, where she was Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle's daughter.
Yeah.
In fact, speaking about the Birds of Prey, I have to mention this. There was the TNT TV show. No, it wasn't TNT, was it? Who was it? It was what was CW before it was CW?
WB?
Yes, the WB. Thank you. WB had a Birds of Prey live action television show.
Which was not that similar to the comics, but still pretty good.
It wasn't. It took place in the DC2 universe.
Yeah.
It did not take place in the Prime DC universe. It took place in DC2, which which was a different universe anyway. But it was still so very good.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you can find this show on DVD and like. If you can find it, check it out. Like I said, it's a different take on it. The main villain actually is Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
The main villain is Huntress's therapist / villain is Dr. Harleen Quinzel, who's worried about getting her Miss J out of New Arkham.
which is a very interesting
It's a unique
choice
take.
because at the time that this show came out, Harley was still gaining her own foothold in the comics herself.
Mm-hmm. She was still very much Joker's.
Love bunny.
I would say hostage. Love hostage.
Well, it was.
That was a bit of Stockholm syndrome there, guys.
I say Love Bunny in that she still had the rose tinted glasses on,
Towards her Mr. J, yes.
which luckily she took those off eventually.
Yeah, and then threw him at his head. Like he batted her out the window with a stuffed swordfish once. You remember that episode?
Yep. All right, guys. Moving on now. We have some honorable mentions.
And we decided to share this time.
Yes.
See, honorable mentions, we're going to start doing with the honorable mentions is we're going to pick graphic novels that we enjoy or we think you would enjoy.
Yeah. This week we've decided to start with something.
Usually we'll pick one each, but this time we've got 7 books.
We had to do this special case because the Rebirth graphic novels are here.
Yes, starting with the deluxe edition, Rebirth #1, which I, by the way, got reserved.
Yep. The original 80-page epic describing not necessarily what's going on, but giving you hints of what is starting to go on.
And the return of Wally West.
Wally West. Or I'm not gonna share my jokey joke nickname for Wally here because it might offend people.
Yeah.
But it's purely in jest.
Yes.
No, I call him.
Because, and we saw in New 52 that there was a black Wally West. It's revealed in this that they're actually cousins.
Yeah. A lot of people thought, they took a character and they made him black. No, they just...
It's his cousin.
Yeah. Which, I want to start off by mentioning this because if you're like a lot of people out there, when this originally came out, it flew off the shelves and you didn't get a copy.
It was like Black Panther when his new issues came out. The only way you had this is if you had it reserved.
It was bad. Like
when
we got reprints in and those flew off the shelves.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
I wouldn't be surprised if these hardback copies fly off the shelves.
Because this is so well written. I mean, the art and everything is incredible in this.
Yeah. But it's basically saying that things are not what they seem vis-a-vis the New 52 and the apparent reset of all the timelines.
Will we get a hint who's behind it? Should I say it?
Nah, let's leave it for people who don't know.
Suffice to say, I will say this, it deals with something from the Vertigo universe.
Yes. Something a lot of comic fans who read a lot in the 80s will recognize.
And early 90s.
And early 90s. There's a certain movie that came out.
Big Blue.
We've said too much already.
Alright, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. And I'm going to start with the graphic novel.
Well, how about we go back and forth?
Yeah, that works. So I'll start with the team, the dream team. You know them, you love them. You're waiting for their movie to come out. You've been waiting for years for this movie to come. The Justice League.
I like the lineup. I like the lineup because we have 2 Green Lanterns in this lineup.
Which, instead of uniting the 7, we've united the 8 this time.
Yeah. And there's a lot of tension in this Justice League because they're having to get to know this new Clark because it's the Prime Universe Legacy Clark.
As we've mentioned, the Superman from the New 52 universe is dead. And
Superman is dead. Long live Superman.
And when I say he is dead, I mean he is D-E-D, dead. They go out.
I'm a former English major. Sorry,
it's a movie quote.
I know it is. But
he is dead.
Yeah,
they've gone out of their way to say he is not coming back.
Yeah, there's no regeneration matrix at the Fortress of Solitude or anything.
So we have the original Superman, so to speak. We have New 52 new member Cyclops in the Justice League, and we have 2 new Green Lanterns, one of whom readers of the New 52 recognize already, Simon Boz.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have Jessica Cruz, who is a relatively new Green Lantern. Relatively, even by Green Lantern standards, which
Yes.
is there are even more relatively new ones who are less relatively new, but I'm not going to go into that. Sorry, I'm confusing people for no reason.
Yes.
But this is Volume 1, Extinction Machines, which, like any good Justice League story, we are dealing with a serious, encompassing global threat that only the teaming up of, I don't want to say the mightiest heroes because that's totally Marvel's thing.
Yeah, it is.
But only the uniting of the top pantheon of heroes in the DC universe coming together could handle the problem they're dealing with.
If we were saying Tom Pantheon, we'd have to have Hal Jordan there, and he's not.
Fair enough. But I mean, we have 2
We've
Green
got
Lanterns.
C-list lanterns, because let's be blunt. John Stewart and Kyle Rayner rank above those 2.
Fair enough.
Guy Gardner
But
doesn't.
that's why there are 2 of them instead of 1 Hal or 1 John.
Yeah. Because 1 John, 1 Hal, or 1 Kyle could handle what they can handle.
Yeah. But it is a great storyline that I read when it was coming out as single issues. And you see a lot of great battles, a lot of great...
I mean, the Metalmen are in it, aren't they?
I think they are.
At some point.
I'm not sure because I need to read this again, to be honest.
I thought... no, they're not. They're not. I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah. But...
Wait, is that them?
But it's a great storyline. You get to see the Justice League learning to trust a new Superman when he goes far above and beyond the call of duty to help save the day.
As he should. He's Superman.
Because he is Superman, and that's what Superman does. And
Can't believe I said that. I have a bad taste in my mouth.
But if you, like a lot of people...
I hope Dockery's happy. I've got a bad taste in my mouth from saying that.
But if you, like a lot of people, missed out on the number 1s, the number 2s of Rebirth...
All the way up to the number 7s, because that's where these go up to. They're 7 issues each.
The Justice League story, Extinction Machines, it's a great Justice League story with them dealing with a huge threat in the way that only the Justice League could, and you should check it out.
All right, my pick. My next one.
Yes.
Batman Detective Comics. Rise of the Batman. Which I love, by the way.
Yeah.
Basically, Detective Comics is a Bat family comic.
Yes.
Because he's brought together, certain members of the Bat Clan, as they've been called. Bat Family, Bat Clan.
Yeah.
He's got Batwoman, Red Robin,
Spoiler,
and is that Cassie?
That is Cassandra Cain, who is going by the name Orphan right now.
Which she'll probably go back to being the Black Bat, I hope.
I hope so.
I liked her as Black Bat. She was cool.
Orphan just doesn't have the same...
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have the same panache.
But this storyline in this graphic novel deals with Batman gathering all these people together because he realizes big things are coming, and he wants to make sure all these young people running around who have been inspired by him to take up banners.
In Batwoman's case, are related to him.
Yeah.
And think about this. Clayface is a member as well. Clayface.
Yeah. But he has gathered a team, which you'll notice there's a common theme in Rebirth of Batman gathering teams together to deal with certain things. But the main purpose is to make sure all these people are working together, protected, trained, and, willing to coordinate and work together when things get serious, which we find out very quickly that things do get serious.
Absolutely. And this is an action-packed comic in a lot of ways. It really is.
Which I said back during your picks, I believe.
Yeah.
if you're wondering about the non-death of Tim Drake, this is what you need.
It's at the very end of this. Issue 7, or issue 940 of Detective Comics, because we went back to the old numbering system, which I love. I've already told Zach, the owner of Jupiter Comics, to reserve 2 or 3 copies of number 1000 of Action and number 1000 of Detective for me.
Yes.
So we've got those coming out, and you know what? I love the art in this.
Yeah.
And one of the things I love they did is, Tim Drake's costume. Let me see if I can find a full body shot of him here. He has gone back to the more traditional Robin costume in a lot of ways.
He's gotten rid of the silly wings.
Yeah, he's still Red Robin. He's just put 2 R's on his chest, one overlapping the other almost, and I really like it because that was.
Yeah.
And he's so smirky again.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the overly serious version of Tim, which is nice.
Which I do believe, if you're interested in what might have precipitated this change in Tim's outfit, look into a series called We Are Robin, and another series called Batman and Robin Eternal.
Yep.
2 great storylines from the past couple of years that deal a lot with the Bat Kids, as I like to call them.
Yeah, the Bat family.
And you get to see Tim. Well, I will say this. This is a tangent, a sidebar. But you get to see Tim Drake, Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Damian Wayne, and some of the other Bat children. You get to see them all interacting with each other in those 2 series.
And that's really cool because we didn't do that a lot for a while.
Yeah, for a while they all just went off, did their own things, didn't talk much. It was a sad time for fans of those characters because they're a family. You don't want to see a family split up. You want to see them together and happy to see each other.
One of the great things I think came out of the New 52 era, and I hate saying anything good came out of that because so much of it was crap. I'm sorry, I'm a huge DC fan, but I was not a fan of a lot of the New 52. Is the relationship between Damian Wayne and Dick Grayson.
Yes.
That big brother, little brother relationship they developed in that was incredible.
Yeah. And it continues to this day in Rebirth with them
being protective of one another, very much so.
Yeah. Protective of each other, even even Jason Todd gets in on it.
Yeah.
In his own oddball way.
Yeah, Chase is definitely the oddball of the family.
But moving on, since we're talking about families being back together,
one of my favorites,
Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. If you are a Green Lantern fan, and
this is your book.
It's you don't want to see Simon, you don't want to see Jessica, you want to see the guys you grew to love.
Kyle, Guy, even John and Hal.
All the fun alien characters that showed up in the Green Lantern Corps, they are all here in this storyline.
Sinestro's Law is what it's called.
Yeah, Sinestro's Law, which the storyline is basically this. Hal Jordan has been missing in that same kind of way that Ray Palmer goes missing a lot. And he has resurfaced along with the Green Lantern Corps, who everyone thought they were all dead.
They weren't. They were locked in a pocket universe or something like that.
Something like that. But everyone thought they were dead, and Sinestro had used that power vacuum to take control of the universe under the rule of fear. And this storyline is basically about both Hal and the Green Lanterns going, you know what? No, Sinestro.
Time to get. Here's my problem with this one storyline: if Sinestro's laying down the law, we know all the Green Lanterns are gone. Where the heck was Kyle Rayner, the only existing White Lantern, perhaps the most powerful lantern of them all?
What was he doing? We don't know.
Where was Kyle?
But it must have been important because he didn't come to help with this. He shows up a little bit later in this series, which you can find the other storylines probably at your local comic book shop.
Yes, it is an incredible story.
But once again, like I said, there are a lot of people who missed out on the number 1s, the number 2s, the number 3s.
Even I have a second printing Flash because we sold it out so fast.
Yeah. This is something you want if you are a Green Lantern fan. You get to see what will probably be for a while the final showdown between Hal Jordan and Sinestro.
Is that in here? No, it's not.
Oh, that's right. That was a couple issues later.
Yeah.
Well, never mind on that part. But
That's a few issues ago now.
Yeah. You get to see some amazing things, and this is a minor spoiler, but you get to see Hal Jordan do the amazing feat of creating a ring from his own willpower.
In fact, that's how it starts because the gauntlet he had, this Green Lantern gauntlet he had been using, is basically turning him into a living construct, so he has to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So the very first thing he's doing is forging his own ring.
Which previously, no one thought that was possible. But Hal Jordan,
He's Hal freaking Jordan.
If there's any Lantern who will do the impossible, it is him.
Mm-hmm. So he has forged his own ring from his own will, proving once again Hal is, without doubt, one of the biggest badass characters in DC.
Yes.
Cannot believe I'm saying this.
Oof.
Mark Dockery, who is a huge Superman fan here at
Personal
Jupiter
friend of
Comics,
ours.
he's a good friend of ours. He's going to be laughing his ass off
He will not
because
believe we got this on video.
this is something you have to read. I can't believe I'm saying it. Superman is incredible now.
Shout out to Frank Prime. He would definitely endorse this recommendation.
Yes, absolutely. Frank is having some health issues at the moment, which is why he hasn't been able to join us recently. So we wish he were able to be here, and we wish him all the best, and we hope he gets better and is able to join us again soon.
But for now, we're going to talk about Superman you, Frank.
Yeah, Frank, we got Superman. You and Mark can go be Superman fanboys together and say, we got Fury to talk about Superman. But I am a huge fan of the current Superman storylines.
Yes.
Because it is very much Superman family. And that's one of the things I love about the Batman storylines. It's not just Batman, he has a family.
And when we say family, we mean family.
Yes. In fact, this volume 1, if you don't know, collections and trade paperbacks and everything have titles. They've got a subtitle. Volume 1, and it's got a title. Volume 1, Son of Superman. Basically, Legacy Superman he has a son. And his name is John Kent, which is very fitting. I like that, John Kent. And he has some of his father's abilities. In fact, most of them. He's not quite as strong. He's not quite as fast. He can fly.
Yeah.
But he is the son of Superman. In fact, very soon, this month in fact, Super Sons is coming out. Super Sons is a comic that will focus on Damian Wayne and John Kent.
And to reference another meme, don't talk to me or my Super Sons ever again.
Again. I'm turning into a meme show. Okay, I see how it is.
But no, I'm very excited for Super Sons.
Yeah, and we've got an old school character shows up in this. If you know the Death and Return of Superman storyline from the 90s, you know the Eradicator. Well, the Eradicator is the primary villain of the beginning of this storyline. We have the Eradicator back, and he's trying to destroy John Kent because he's an impure Kryptonian.
Yes.
And, like I said, I'm loving all the Superman storylines right now. Superman, Supergirl, Action Comics, Superwoman, they're all incredible right now. And I will be reading Super Sons when it comes out.
So will I. And that moves us along to
The other person who's going to help us figure out who the true big bad is in Marvel, in DC rather.
the Scarlet Speedster himself, The Flash, Volume 1, Lightning Strikes Twice. And what does this title mean? It's very simple. Strange things are afoot in Central City, including
Two Wallies.
two Wallies, the return of a Wally that no one remembers until they do.
Yeah, well, again, read this, and it'll show you all of that.
Yes. But we also have a couple of other things happening in Central City.
Yeah.
Namely, people have been experimenting with the Speed Force.
Yes, there's a bunch of new speedsters. It's kind of freaky, actually.
It is very disturbing because one of them turns out to be a serial killer
Yeah.
who goes by the name Godspeed. Which, one of the best names for a speedster villain.
I do. I like it. I like it. Godspeed. And the thing is, most of the time, speedster villains are dark colors.
Yeah.
This guy's got a pure white suit.
White and gold. Like,
White and gold. I mean, I was like, Reverse Flash is the reverse of Flash, so his color scheme is the reverse. But Godspeed, does he even show up in this one, or is he later?
yeah, he shows up.
Yeah, Godspeed is a white and gold suit, and it's...
You hate to say it because he's a serial killer, but it looks
Here,
amazing.
Look. This is it. This is the bad guy. That does not look like a bad guy suit.
Which is funny because he doesn't consider himself a bad guy.
How many true villains do, though?
Very few. Very few.
In some ways, comics are only as good as how bad the villain is.
Yes. So, this is a great story. You get to see Barry and Wally interacting again. The Wally you remember.
The redhead.
The Wally you love.
Well, I love them both.
Yeah, I love them both, too.
I like the new Wally too. He's a very different character.
I know that everyone loves the other Wally, but I love him.
I love both the Wallys so far. And the interaction between the two is pretty cool too.
You also get to see an interesting dynamic in that the Flash becomes a teacher for a while, which is something you haven't really seen before. Like, he taught Wally a little, but like, you get to see him really like day to day try to be a teacher and a mentor to people, and like a lot of the story.
I wonder if he's taking lessons from this guy.
He might be, but
we've got one more from this, and he's probably one of the great mentors. You were saying something about this. So.
Yeah, I was just saying that, if you're a fan of The Flash, especially if you're a fan of the CW TV show and you want to read some more stuff about the adventures of Barry, check out the Rebirth Flash trade paperback, Volume 1, Lightning Strikes Twice. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening, and that's really fun.
Now on to perhaps the greatest mentor in all of DC. Am I right in saying that? He's mentored the most.
Yep.
Batman. I am Gotham.
Although I must say, on the behalf of Jason Todd, your results may vary.
Oh! That was the Joker's fault. And Jason's, because he went off book. Bruce even told him not to, if you remember that storyline right.
I couldn't help it, guys. So.
I know. But, again, I don't know if you've seen the new suit debuted towards the end of the New 52, and it's really quite cool looking. And this is him injecting from the Batwing, so you don't see it. But the Bat symbol is now outlined in yellow.
Yeah. It's a black logo outlined in yellow on a gray suit. It's a very, very striking look.
I like it. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure how I felt about it first. And right now, even, Bruce has a new student, as it were.
Yes.
And his name is Thomas Duke. And he doesn't have a superhero name yet, does he?
I don't think so.
No. He has not been given a name. He's a new student. And you see
I think
Duke...
he's literally just been called Duke this whole time.
Yeah. You only see him, really, in Batman and also the current All-Star Batman.
I think you see the occasional flash of him in Detective.
But this is the story that's focusing primarily on him, and I liked it. I liked it.
Which, if you're wondering where Thomas Duke comes from...
We Are Robin.
Yeah, I've mentioned We Are Robin. Check that out. He is the member of a group that called themselves The Robins, and that's a crazy storyline that I won't go into because we're talking about Rebirth right now.
Yeah, that's New 52.
And so, this storyline in Volume 1, what's the subtitle on this?
I Am Gotham.
I Am Gotham. It is the story of two new superheroes who show up in Gotham calling themselves Gotham and Gotham Girl. That's what they call themselves.
I know
you're full of shit.
Bad names, but what can you do?
Hey, man.
And
Sorry, one of our regulars, Lee, just walked in here for a minute.
shout out to Doc Bolt.
Yeah, Doc Bolt, if you've seen him online. Because we are filming right here at Jupiter Comics.
In scenic Hyville, Tennessee.
Yes. But I Am Gotham.
I Am Gotham storyline. Like I said, you see the emergence of these two new superheroes calling themselves Gotham and Gotham Girl. They seem to have powers very similar to a Superman type. They can fly. They have super strength. I did not see any heat vision.
No, none that I know of.
But things are not exactly what they seem with that pair. And this story deals with basically Bruce trying to figure out what their deal is.
Yeah. I have one other thing to add. It's a bit of comic news. And that is that they are doing a new Batman crossover. It's coming out in March, I believe. Is it March or is it April? It's April 26th. And it is Batman and the Shadow. And it will be coming out on April 26th. Writers will be Scott Snyder and Steve Orlando. And I'm kind of excited about this because we are seeing a classic old school hero, really, really old school hero come back.
Yeah.
So we've got that coming up, and that's our in the news portion. I also have one more.
Let's see. I will tell you. There is a new Luke Cage ongoing series coming out very soon due to the popularity of the Netflix series. Mm-hmm. There's also a Defenders ongoing series coming out with the cast of Netflix Defenders, but the comic versions of them.
Yes.
They're teaming up in the comics as well. That's something to look forward to.
And I have one other thing to add from Marvel. A lot of us who are old school know of the Man-Thing. In fact, he's even been mentioned in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in passing.
Yes.
He's getting a new run starting March 8th, written by Goosebumps writer R.L. Stine.
It's going to be amazing.
That's going to be a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to that. The art will be by German Peralta, thank you.
Funny enough, I only know how to pronounce that name because of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Andy Samberg's character is named Jake Peralta.
Okay, well, thank you. And of course, we also have the Secret Empire storyline in Marvel coming up as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot happening.
Yeah. Secret Empire is a storyline that is going to be centered around Steve Rogers, which, if you know what's been going on in Marvel recently, Steve's not
the reservation.
He's not himself lately.
And one last
That's
thing,
putting it lightly.
One last thing from DC. They're doing an Injustice 2 prequel comic.
Yes.
Comes out April 11th.
I know there are a lot of people excited for Injustice 2.
We'll talk about the lineup as we know it. Pulled directly from the Injustice 2 website later on. But they're coming out with a comic.
Which fans may know, they released a whole entire series of comics of the 5 years.
It was 5?
Yeah, it was 5. The 5 years leading up to the first Injustice video game. This might not be as extensive as that, but I know if you're really a big fan of the storyline, you would love to know that this Prelude comic is coming out. The first issue is April 11th, so
And
be on
it's
the
a digital first.
so be on the lookout for that online and on your local comic book shop shelves.
3. Okay, moving on to TV.
Yeah.
Why don't you start, because you're more caught up in the Arrowverse than I am. So,
All right, so we had some ridiculous developments over the week with the superhero TV shows. Not only in the new episodes, but also in some of the news recently. But I'll get to the news later. Right now, I want to talk about Supergirl. And in my opinion, I hate pointing this out because maybe I shouldn't, but I can't help but point it out because it's so silly. Alright, so in this week's episode, there is a B-plot about Alex, Supergirl's Earth sister. Her and her girlfriend Maggie have tickets to a concert they're looking forward to going to.
it's Maggie Sawyer, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they stole Batwoman's girlfriend. Or ex-girlfriend, rather. And put her in Supergirl.
Yeah, well, what can you do?
She's stealing everything from the Bats, man!
I mean, they completely changed Miss Martian, too.
Yeah, fair enough.
But, it was a fine plot, and it had a fun effect on the rest of the episode, which is also about White Martian sneaking into the DEO.
Interesting plot.
Yeah. Because they can, take people.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And, so, great episode. Some really good acting. I really enjoyed the action scenes, too. But, did the concert have to be Bare Naked Ladies?
What's wrong with Bare Naked Ladies? I love that group.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I got their greatest hits album in my car.
I'll take your word on
I love that group. Those crazy Canadian guys, I love them.
it. It was just like,
1 week.
no, it's not that big a deal. But like personally, I was watching the episode and I was just like, what the heck? Of all the bads to have your lesbian couple.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But
it's not that big a deal, but like I just wanted to like point it out because it was really funny to me.
Yeah,
and I couldn't tell if they were trying to be like cheeky or not.
I don't think so. I think they just chose Bare Naked Ladies because they're a bunch of geeks. Because think about it, that song 1 week they mentioned the X-Files and video games and all kinds of things throughout it.
Fair enough.
So I think it was just chosen because they're a bunch of geeks.
Yeah, it was an odd coincidence.
Yeah,
but it was pretty funny.
Yeah, fair enough.
But let's see. On Tuesday we had a couple of great episodes from The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow.
I need to catch up on Legends. I love that show.
Yeah, this episode they were dealing with the Revolutionary War.
I definitely need to watch that.
In short, someone goes back and tries to assassinate George Washington.
Bad idea.
So, big time aberration there.
Oh, I'll bet.
So, that was a pretty fun episode. The Flash was about phasing because Barry's trying to teach Wally how to phase through things.
Yeah, okay.
And this also comes into play because there's I know this villain has an actual name in the comics.
Who is he?
He's the guy where he touches things and they start to like decompose away.
I know who you're talking about. I cannot remember his name.
But we're dealing with a villain that has that capability. He appears to be one of Dr. Alchemy's victims. And he's going after people who were cops in Flashpoint, which has some slight overlap in our good friend Joe West. So,
I love Joe.
So Joe was a target. But to see what happens and if anybody gets hurt, go on. Does Hulu have shows from the CW? You know what? Go to CW Seed.
Yeah, CW Seed, they do
That's
shows.
their own streaming
Yeah,
shows,
it is.
right? Yeah.
And the current episodes are free, if I remember correctly.
All right. Yeah. So if you missed any of these episodes, go to CW Seed. I have a DVR in my home, so I always just record them.
Yeah, here I can find out real quick. I think though for like the currents, it's free.
And so on Wednesday,
And of course they've got the Vixen and Constantine shows on Seed. Of
That's
course,
right.
Constantine hasn't premiered yet, but they also have the Constantine live action show.
Oh.
Wait a minute. Yeah, they do. So they've got that, and they don't
Good
have the
few
cartoon that's
different
coming out. NV Forever. Forever, that was a great show.
I'll have to check it.
Everybody Hates Chris, Hellcats, oh god, Mad TV.
Wow. Anyway, in the Arrowverse, on Wednesday we had a great episode of Arrow that saw, part of the team going to Russia in the present day.
Yeah, and I heard about this, our very own, what is wrong with my head today? Felicity Smoke is starting to go a little darker.
Yep. Now, it seems in a way Prometheus has become halfway accurate about the Green Arrow in that he is inspiring his comrades, his friends, to do slightly darker things in the name of a good cause, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And this is exemplified with Felicity Smoke, who in a recent episode was given a very vast amount of information gotten through hacking, basically. And the way she starts to use that information is a plot thread that I think that's going to play into the rest of season 5.
Yeah.
We also have the reason they went to Russia in the first place. The general who framed John Diggle has escaped custody and gone to Russia to commit a dirty deal, so to speak.
Yeah. I was sorry to cut in. I was just looking at CW. It's CW TV you want to go to, folks, and they've got the latest 5 episodes on their streaming. They're under the show's heading. So you go to cwtv.com, then you hit shows, and then you pick the show you want, and you can watch the most recent 5 episodes of those shows. So. And the shows that are available there, they still have the Heroes vs. Aliens crossover up there. So if you haven't seen that, all 4 series crossover, it is up still. So go watch it. It was incredible.
Oh, that was a fun event.
Yeah, it was really good. But they've got Arrow, DC Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, Flash, Supernatural, Riverdale. I haven't seen it yet. I'm not sure I want to.
I'm not judging it yet because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But everyone that I know that has seen it has just been like,
This is not Archie.
Is this the Archies? This is weird.
Yeah.
Which
I've heard
makes me
some
want
things.
to watch it, to be honest.
Yeah, kind of, but also part of me, the purist in me, is like, do I really want to see them vilify, dirty up the Archies, which was such a wholesome group at one point, you know.
Maybe
A little bit.
But you know, that was a lot of fun stuff from the CW Arrowverse this week.
Powerless, since we're talking DC.
Yeah.
I've seen both episodes that are out so far.
I still need to.
It is Office meets DC. It really is in a lot of ways. And you know, it's finding its feet still, but there's a lot of fun and good stuff in it right now. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it is still trying to find its feet. It is still trying to find out what it's about. But I'm enjoying the hell out of it, especially at the end of the very first episode, they reference Batman and Joker, and there are references to heroes and everything all through it. This most recent episode, do you know in the DC universe there's a superhero fantasy league?
I believe it.
That was what the show was about, because Vanessa Hudgens' character gets the internet blocked because no one's doing their job. They're all focusing on this fantasy league. She ends up kind of the villain of the episode because she gets ratted out by the evil HR manager. And she has to watch an anti-bullying video that's 6 hours long, 4 times in a row.
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's a lot of fun. You know, it's not what you're not gonna see what you're expecting it to be.
Yeah.
Don't go in there with any expectations or anything. Just go in there and see it for the fun show it is, because that's what it is. It is a lot of fun, and Alan Tudyk as Van Wayne is perfect. I love Alan Tudyk. He's brilliant and he's hilarious in this. As Bruce Wayne's completely clueless cousin, he's perfect. So, I'm also behind on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm behind on everything this week.
Yeah. I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Of course you did.
Of course I did.
How was it?
It was great. We found out something very interesting.
What did we find out?
That Ada is based on a real person.
I'd heard that, you know, that he'd... we're finding out more and more that the Doc's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And kind of evil.
Really we're finding out that he's been always living up to the shady reputation we got when we first met him back in season 4.
Yeah.
Because he was very creepy at first when we met him. But it was implied that he had changed, but he had just pushed it under the surface.
Yeah. Well, it was actually season 3?
Season 3, my bad.
Yeah. I'm trying to find out.
I'm getting confused because I just remembered that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. got renewed for season 5.
Is that confirmed? That's what I was actually looking up.
I thought so.
I'm going to check. You keep talking while I check
Don't quote me
this.
on that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking.
But it was a great episode with some really good moments from Phil Coulson. They basically contact the woman that Ada was based on because she's someone from the Doctor's past.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to get her to help them draw him out of hiding.
Yeah.
And we have some great dialogue and interactive moments between Phil and Mac as they handle that situation.
Come on, we all want to see is them get May back and Coulson tell her. He's been meaning to tell her for years now. We should have told her.
Yeah.
All right, I'm a end this ship. Leave me alone.
It's no big deal.
I'll admit to it. I'm proud of it.
I mean, I think they're good together.
Yeah. I'll admit, Belinda all the way.
Although I generally, because of the way the show goes, I just ship her with happiness.
Which that's what Phil is personified, because he's got such childlike wonder in some ways. Think about how Phil reacts when he sees something really cool.
Fair enough. But no, I was just joking because, like, she just goes through a lot.
Yeah, she does. I love the character Melinda May, and Ming-Na Wen has done a hell of a job bringing that character to life, because the character didn't exist until her.
That's true.
And she has just done an incredible job bringing her to life. By the way, she, according to the Heroes and Villains Fan Fest, she's going to be in Nashville.
Yeah, that's right.
At the Nashville one of those. And so Stephen
I think
Amell
that's in
and John
July.
Barrowman. Yeah, let me look that up real quick.
That's I want to say July 8th and 9th or 7th through the 9th. I've been seeing the ads for that.
Yeah, let me pull. I'm pulling it up right now because I'm going. I'm going because I have sitting up in my room a signed cast photograph of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You've seen it.
Yeah.
And it's signed by Brett Dalton.
Okay.
And it's got a photo of Brett Dalton. It's the season 1 cast.
Right.
So it's Britt Dalton, Chloe Bennett, Liz Hestridge. I can never remember how to say the Scottish guy's name. I feel bad about because I love Leo, I love Fitz, and Clark Gregg and Ming-Na and How I Met Your Mother.
Kobe Smulders.
Kobe Smulders. Why do I always forget her name? I don't know why. I'm kind of weird that way. I'm terrible at remembering. Yes, it's July 8th and 9th. And it will have the confirmed ones thus far.
Oh.
John Barrowman, Ming-Na Wen,
Ooh, Willa Holland.
and Willa Holland are confirmed. Here is the full list. Stephen Amell, David Ramsey, Katrina Law, Robbie Amell, Katie Lotz, David Mouses, Drew Powell. Wow, that's some pretty big star power for Nashville.
Yeah. That is like almost half the cast of Arrow there.
That is half the cast of Arrow. I mean, look, and a legend, one of the legends. We've got Firestorm. Yeah. Oh, I'm definitely going to that.
But yeah.
Sorry, going off on a tangent. We do that sometimes.
But yeah, once again, if you haven't been checking out Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. lately,
You should.
it's actually been a really good show. And I know a lot of people had mixed opinions about Season 1, but it's not Season 1 anymore, guys.
And you know what? A lot of the mixed opinions come from the fact that it was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't, for what it is, it's not really an action-driven show. It's a character-driven show in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And they were getting all the character build, a lot of the character storylines and finding out and understanding who the characters were done in that first half of Season 1.
Yeah.
There's a hell of a lot of character building that first season. And I love character building stories. They're amazing. So I love it. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, because the complaint I always hear is, but Season 1 was so slow. My response is always kind of, how can it be slow when you're learning who these characters are? What makes them tick? See, maybe it's the wannabe writer in me that sees this and goes, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is. It's the part of me that wants to be a writer, and I go, you're letting me crawl inside these characters' heads a bit more. I like that. So, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., absolutely check it out. Also, bear in mind, Supernatural's on again. I can catch up on it as well. There's something I definitely want to talk about. It is not on network TV. Voltron, Legendary Defender, Season 2.
Season 2.
I have watched it twice now.
I'm still working my way through it because when I like a show like that, I like to take my time with it.
I see. That's the danger of Netflix. Is I was sick one day.
Oh.
I couldn't go to work, and so I stayed home and I watched both seasons of Voltron back to back. This is an incredible update.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate the term reboot. I really do.
Yeah.
But it is a great update. It's bringing this storyline to a new level, a new generation in a lot of ways.
Definitely.
This is what Robotech needs. What they have done with this is what Robotech needs. If they were to do this with Robotech, it would be incredible. So,
I definitely enjoyed season 1. It exceeded my expectations. I'm still part way through season 2, but what I've seen so far has been very promising.
yeah. Also, on Cartoon Network, Adult Swim. No, not Adult Swim. Toonami, Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah.
I've watched the first few episodes. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
The first few episodes of Dragon Ball Super are basically a rehashing of Battle of the Gods.
Yeah, that's right.
And it is really freaking cool.
Mm-hmm. Super is a great series. Akira Toriyama basically comes back and he says, no.
To Dragon Ball GT. Because there are aspects of GT that are no longer canon now.
Yeah. It's like...
we won't go into which ones. You guys need to go watch the show for yourself. But we're huge Dragon Ball fans here at Jupiter Comics and at the MadCap Report.
Yeah.
Because I consider myself a part of both of those organizations.
But yeah, Dragon Ball Super ignores in a way a lot of things from Dragon Ball GT, which if you're one of
better stories.
If you're one of those people who thought that, Dragon Ball GT didn't match the original feel of the rest of Dragon Ball Z, well, there's a good reason for that. And Dragon Ball Super is kind of their way of saying, well, let's try to bring...
Toriyama had nothing to do with GT. That's why it didn't have the same feeling.
Yeah. So Toriyama's back and they decided we're going to give this another shot to do an alternate ongoing point for the series.
Yeah, and it's the first time in 20 years we've had a new Dragon Ball series.
Feels like it.
Yeah.
If it isn't exactly 20 years,
it's close to
like
it. Yeah. So there's that's definitely something you want to check out if you're a big fan of anime and the like. There's also talk of a Robotech movie, live action.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about that.
There's nothing really confirmed about it, except, yes, the project is active. That is the only thing they've said about it, is the project is active and they are working on it. If they do it, and they do it right, I would really enjoy it, because a live-action Robotech movie would be awesome. Here's my question, though. When you're casting the captain, with the pipe and everything, I forget his name, but the captain of the SDF-1,
right?
Who do you get to do that role?
I'm not sure, man.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard casting call there. And Rick Hunter, who do you cast as Rick Hunter?
Rip Hunter?
We really want to put Arthur Darvill and everything, don't we?
That would just be kind of funny to see.
It would. He's a little old for that character because it's a young character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would just be hilarious.
Rip
Hunter. Rick Hunter.
Yeah. But Rick. Who do you cast as Rick Hunter, and who do you cast as Lisa and Min-May? Actually, Chloe Bennett would be brilliant as Min-May. Because Chloe Bennett's a singer.
Mm-hmm.
And since Min-May's a singer, of course, we couldn't have Min-May be the airhead she is in Robotech. I would not want to see Chloe Bennett as an airhead Min-May. I want to see her as kind of a smart and more savvy one if they were to cast her in that role.
Yeah, I don't know the original character. It could be funny to see like a comedic side from her like that.
Yeah, it could, but she's just such a great actress. I'd hate to see her in a role like that. It would be fun, but then I'd be like, yeah, but this is Daisy. This is the badass of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
This is the person who would now kick Grant Morrison's ass all over the place. This is May Jr. This is Little May.
Okay. Point made.
Alright, I'm done. I'm sorry. I go off on a tangent when I love a character and how, or an actor, and she is really good in that. I would look. She's just kind of one of the first names that popped in my head because she has both. She can act because she's a good actress and she can sing.
Yeah. Which Chloe Bennett's one of my favorites on TV right now. But going back to Marvel, I did want to touch on a few things.
Okay.
Number one, the premiere of Legion on FX.
I need to watch that too. God,
A great series. If you're a fan of Christopher Nolan's non-Batman movies, you might find something you enjoy in Legion. It's a very interesting story about this character, David Haller, who as a kid develops mutant powers, except no one knows what mutant powers are. So they hide it from him and tell him he just has schizophrenia.
Here's my question. Those of us who are comic fans know that this character, who his father is.
Yeah.
Is that touched on at all in the first episode? Is there any teasing about it?
Not that much.
Oh.
Not so much. However, there is a lot of great character establishing for David, showing like a lot of things he's gone through in life, and it's done in a very attention-grabbing style where you switch between time periods very quickly because you have the present day, which is basically him being interviewed, and they're interviewing him about the past, so they cut back to the flashback, and things get very trippy. One thing to look out for, as an example, at one point there is something akin to a dream sequence wherein you see David himself and a lot of the supporting cast of the episode having a dance number with full-on choreography.
You're kidding.
No, this is an actual thing that happens. And it happens, and you just have to deal with it until it's over.
Yeah, okay, fine.
But it is actually...
I shouldn't say anything. One of my favorite episodes of Buffy is the musical one, so...
But it is just, like, out of nowhere and very funny. And I know I've spoiled a great, surprising moment of like, levity in the show.
Spoiler alert. Or to quote both the Doctor and River Song, spoilers.
But there's a lot of things you get to see in this first episode, especially time that David has spent in an institution because of what they call an episode, but is really an outbreaking of his powers that he can't control because there isn't anywhere for him to go and train at the time.
Hint, hint, hint. Before we...
But I will say, the showrunners for Legion have said that they're gonna focus mainly on the internal story for the first season, and maybe in season 2
branch out a little.
Worry more about connecting directly to the movie universe.
Okay. While we're before we finish up with television, There is one thing we need to announce. If you've seen it in the news, then you know. But this is the final. This coming up season is the final season of Doctor Who for
Peter
Capaldi. He is leaving after this season and the Christmas special. I'm actually kind of sad to see him go. I was not fond of Capaldi starting out, but I've grown to love his take on the Doctor now. So I am sad to see him go. I think that's about it, though, unless you have something else.
Yeah, I did. In Marvel not out yet, we've had a couple of announcements in the past few weeks.
Right, the Defenders is like
not even the Defenders and the shows
Iron
on
Fist?
Netflix. I'm talking about casting announcements for the Hulu series Runaways.
Oh,
And the Freeform series Cloak and Dagger.
right. Those I keep forgetting those are coming out. Anything? Have we heard anything more about the Human series that's coming out soon?
There haven't been any updates very recently.
I didn't think so. I've been trying to keep up with that one because that's going to tie into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. somehow, and we're probably going to see some crossover with the character Daisy Johnson.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, Runaways has found, I do believe, their main cast. So if you're a fan of the Runaways, all your favorite characters have been cast, and I do think they have also started to cast some of their parents. And for fans of the Runaways, you know the great significance of that. But that's all exciting news. You should go check that out if you haven't yet. And they've announced who our Cloak and Dagger will be.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's playing Cloak and Dagger?
I'll have to look it up.
I've got IMDb pulled up, so it'll probably tell me here.
A lot of these actors on both of these shows are relatively unknown in that they're
That's
up
not
and
necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I was just saying they're up and comers, which I think is a good thing since they're all playing young characters.
Yeah.
That means that they have the possibility to play them for a long time if their shows go well. Which, there are possible doubts about Cloak and Dagger because it's on a new channel that hasn't handled a superhero show like this before.
Well, it's currently doing that one that's based off the Shadowhunter series.
Yeah.
And that show apparently is doing very well, so this might work. Noelle Renee Bercy is playing Evita, and Mike Donovan's playing Rick. Cloak and Dagger. Olivia Holt will be Dagger. Aubrey Joseph will be Cloak.
Yeah. And I do believe they've had a couple of roles before this show that a few people know them for. But look into that if you're interested in young characters like Cloak and Dagger or The Runaways, because those shows are still coming. I know a lot of people tend to only talk about either Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Netflix series, but the Marvel universe
Is bigger than that.
Is coming alive in a lot of other ways on TV.
Yeah, I unfortunately have not had enough time to see it all.
We're moving on to movies now.
Yeah, of course, what just came out is, of course, John Wick Chapter 2. We will be getting a review from Josh Mason from Mason Studios about that.
Awesome.
I'm hoping he'll have it in time for us to. I'm hoping he'll have it in fairly soon for us, but he's doing a review for us, so.
That's exciting.
If you've seen, Josh has done reviews for 51 Country Output in Covington for a little while now. Once a month he does a movie review for them, and I've heard it. It's pretty good. So I asked him if he wouldn't mind doing it for us. I haven't seen yet. Like I said earlier, I will be going to see it after we finish up here.
Yeah.
Because I loved the first one. Also coming out fairly soon is Logan.
Yeah.
We're nearly there.
Yeah, it's only a
couple of weeks.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks out.
Yeah, 2 or
now.
3 weeks out. We've got Logan coming out, and I'm really excited about that one.
I'm excited, but I'm also like ready to be.
Where did I put my
sad.
glasses? Yeah, there they are.
Ready to be a little sad to see. Well, honestly, I'm not. I'm sad to see Hugh Jackman go because he's been there for a while.
Yeah, but you're also, he's right. It is time. He can't keep playing the character forever, unfortunately.
Yeah, and maybe if they do recast Wolverine, they'll get someone who's more the right height. Maybe.
You mean someone shorter than you and me?
I'm just saying that would be a
Wolvie's
little
what,
bit
5'3", 5'5"?
It works.
How are you gonna get someone that height but that bulk?
I don't know, but I mean, like, plenty of Hollywood actors are actually like around the 5'7", 5'8", 5'6" range, and we don't know about it. So there's
Robert Downey Jr. comes to mind. He's 5'8".
yeah.
Well, 5'8.5". That's the reason when you, if you look at they're pulling out from the reconstruction scene of Avengers, when he's got the digital blueprints out and is setting it up, it's him, Gwyneth Paltrow. She's basically in her bare feet, and he's in boots about yay thick, and they're about the same height.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that. Me and him are the same height, so.
But yeah, we have the last appearance of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and we also have the last appearance of Patrick Stewart as Professor X.
Yeah, and it looks like this might be their best one yet.
Yeah.
On the DC side of things,
There are a few things going on.
there are rumors that they're going to be doing a Black Adam movie starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Which, unpopular opinion, as much as I love seeing another movie with The Rock, I feel like if you guys wanted to make him the main character of your movie, you could have just made him the main character of your movie.
You could have just made him Shazam. Fair enough. Fair enough. But, this should be interesting seeing him play the villain, because we rarely see that.
Oh, definitely.
He's usually the hero.
Too true.
Unless, of course, you're a huge fan of Vin Diesel in the Fast and Furious movies, and you felt he was the villain in the ones where he's hunting, Dom.
Yeah.
And, of course, we got Fate of the Furious coming out as well.
Yep.
Same talking about that.
Fate of the Furious.
I don't know how I feel. I don't. I'm either going to be really, really happy about this or really, really upset. Because the trailer, you've seen the trailer, right?
I'm gonna be blunt about this one.
Okay.
I feel like Paul Walker isn't the only one that they should have let rest in peace after Fast 7.
Ooh, too soon. Too soon.
I said it. I hope he's resting in peace.
Yeah, still too soon.
Apparently not too soon for a sequel.
Don't go there. Don't go there. But this is, I think this is the final one, isn't it?
I think so. I hope so. I just hate to see where they would go after this.
Yeah, see Dom go against the family.
To see
I don't know.
I'll say this. It looks like if you were a fan of Pierce Brosnan James Bond movies, you'll enjoy Fast 8.
I like Pierce Brosnan's Bond. What's wrong with that?
Just some of the stunts are a little on the unrealistic side.
That's certainly true. Like the cutting the car in half and a couple other things. Okay, I see your point.
But that's a tangent, and I'm sorry if I offended any Fast franchise fans out there.
Chase is gonna have your ass. Actually, no, he won't because Chase is not a fan. Chase Harmon is one of our, again, the regulars at Jupiter and probably will be on the show at some point.
Yeah.
And he is a huge fan of Fast and Furious. So we've got that. Power Rangers. We've
been seeing some crazy things about Power Rangers.
Bryan Cranston as Zordon in the newest trailer is awesome.
Like, people are skeptical of the lot of updates to things they are making in this movie. Bryan Cranston as Zordon should not be one of those things.
No, it should not. This should be on your thank God list.
Because the way they render it in the movie looks so great, and like, let's be honest, even if you're the biggest fan of the old TV show, going into the headquarters and having the giant head in a tube still in the year of our Lord 2017, come on, guys.
And anyway, you know what? Bryan Cranston's got pedigree as far as Power Rangers is concerned. He did some of the voice work back in the original series.
Yeah.
So, you know what? He's been there before. He's a part of that world after a fashion. So, don't hate on him. See what he's going to do with it. He knows the franchise because he's done some work for him before.
Yeah. And I will say, the design for Alpha 5...
I hate it.
It's a little surprising. However, though, on the plus side, you got to remember, he is still being voiced by Bill Hader, who is a phenomenal comedic actor.
True. We'll have to see how Alpha looks. I'm just looking at some of the things that Bryan Cranston's done.
He has a very long,
full
career.
Yeah, but some of the things he's done here, he's been in How I Met Your Mother, Kung Fu Panda 3, Robot Chicken, Breaking Bad, of course, Cleveland Show, Simpsons.
He's done a lot of voice work along with all of his
Archer,
on-camera acting.
He was Jim Gordon in Batman Year One.
Oh.
I did not know that. I'm just looking at this, and it's just so much. You would be shocked at the sheer amount of voice work here he's got, and it's really quite cool. He was in the Clerks TV show.
I just noticed that. That's great.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the TV show. I remember that, actually. X-Files. I remember this episode. Drive. The majority of the episode is Bryan Cranston and David Duchovny driving in a car together.
Oh yeah, I remember that episode. That was a good episode.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, man has pedigree with a lot of things, and of course he was in Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I love that show. Don't give me hate for that.
I won't. I enjoyed it.
Did you? Yes, he did voices a couple of times in Power Rangers. It's back in '93.
But yeah, the movie, this,
He was in Macross.
Yeah, but everyone's gonna have their own opinions about the new Power Rangers movie. But in my opinion, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, is it go opening night good for me personally? Not necessarily.
If I wasn't working.
Like, if someone bought me the ticket, I would definitely go, but I can wait if I'm paying myself.
Yeah.
No offense, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, fair enough, and that's the thing. It's always your own opinions and everything. And that's what we offer, is our opinions on things, folks.
Yeah.
We're just a couple of fans who love talking about this stuff, and we're no more knowledgeable than anyone else except in what we've looked up and pulled from various sources, which is sometimes what you see me doing here. Is I'm looking things up and seeing what I can find as I go.
But I did want to mention one other movie that came out this weekend.
Mhm.
The silly,
Oh God,
the
ridiculous,
tongue-in-cheek,
the terrible.
not the terrible,
No, it's probably not terrible. I
The-
haven't seen it yet, but I know what you're
the
talking
family-friendly, the Easter egg-laden Lego Batman movie,
about.
which neither one of us have seen it yet.
A
But
friend of ours, Jeff, seen it. Said it was really good, and he said it had so many Easter eggs that the Batman fanboy like me would squeak constantly.
But I mean, it looks to be a pretty solid comedic outing, and you know,
Batman can handle being made fun of. He's earned it more than enough.
yeah, and you know, I think we're at a good point when we can have such a like direct comedic parody of a comic book character in a major movie. Like, this seems like the kind of thing you used to maybe only get in an episode of Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
But it's possible for them to go out and say, we're going to make a comedy Batman movie with Lego. And that happened.
Yeah, and it's apparently a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm reserved. I always reserve judgment until I've seen it.
Yeah.
Like Fantastic Four, I couldn't get through 10 minutes of that movie.
We don't talk about it.
Which one?
Any of them, really.
I don't know. The first one. That first one they did.
Yeah, the one from '94. I love that one.
No, not the one from 90. Not the 94 made-for-TV one. What's wrong with you? I'm talking about the first one with Chris Evans. It was okay. But you and I were talking about this the other day, and I agree with you. If you're going to do it, you can't do Doom and their origin at the same time.
No.
I agree with you on that. It's too much.
Like, they made that mistake in the Jessica Alba Chris Evans movie, and they made that mistake in the recent reboot,
Which was even worse.
where the story gets bogged down coming up with the origin of the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom at the same time. Like, those are both such involved stories that combining them always ends up a bit of a mess.
And my problem with that other Fantastic Four movie, I know we're getting off topic here, but my problem with it was that basically they took the characters' names and created completely new characters around those names. A lot of the source material was just torn up and ignored.
Yeah.
And that was always my issue with it. You know, they diverted so much from the source material.
Yeah.
And I know that's a fanboy problem. I'm fully aware of it, but
To be honest, I think you have to be pretty true to the comics to pull off the Fantastic Four.
yeah, you do.
At least their beginnings.
Yeah, at the beginning you've got to be damn close to it, and then you can go, okay, we're going to go off a little bit.
Yeah. But the Lego Batman movie looks to be really fun. It's kid friendly. I had my brother tell me that him and my nephew enjoyed it a lot when they went to see it.
Well, that's good.
So it's a really fun movie, and if you've seen the trailer and you don't know much about DC Comics or Batman's history, Condiment King,
Is legit.
real character. Look
He's
him
from,
up.
I think, the 50s.
Yeah,
He is old school. He is a real character. He even pops up in Batgirl Year One.
yeah. He's even been in a couple of the animated series before.
He has. He has been in the animated series.
So just to give you an idea of the level
He's
of
legit.
Easter eggs hidden in the movie, like.
Unfortunately, he is legit. I wish he wasn't, but he is.
But yeah, so go check that out.
There was one other thing.
But I know one thing we need to talk about. Recently, Marvel released a 4-minute video introducing the fact that they had just started work on Infinity War. They've started principal production.
I saw that. That was incredible. It was a lot of fun.
and it's fun. You get to see a lot of behind the scenes footage, some concept art. You also get a great intro to the video with Robert Downey Jr., Chris Pratt, and Tom Holland.
Yes, Spider-Man.
So he's confirmed for the movie now.
Oh, sorry.
So we have the Avengers, we have the Guardians, we have Spider-Man, we possibly have Doctor Strange.
Yeah, we do have Strange. Strange is confirmed.
Yeah, people have said they've seen glimpses of him in the video as well, along with a couple of other characters. So it's an exciting thing to look forward to.
Yeah, it's going to be a star-laden movie. It really is. We're going to, it's going to be big. It's going to be something else, and I'm looking forward to it. Before we go, we have to talk about 2 DC movies as well, other than Lego Batman.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's coming out soon.
Yes.
And I am so excited about this.
75 years in the making.
Yes. Wonder Woman is without doubt one of my favorite female heroes. And, I'm Gal Gadot. I'm excited to see what her take on one of these going to be.
Yeah.
We've seen the other 2 members of the Trinity a lot in movies and TV.
A lot.
It's about time we saw a Wonder Woman movie. But I'm hoping they do it right. I'm hoping they do it right because this is such a cool character.
Yeah.
And from what I'm seeing in the trailer and everything, it looks really good.
It looks really good. Honestly, what gave me faith from the get-go was, and this goes back to her first appearance in Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Which, by the way, just let me say this. Don't watch the theatrical release. Watch the unedited version.
Yeah, it's
much better.
It's longer, but they add a bunch of actual plot.
And it resolves a lot of little subplots that we felt were loose ends in the theatrical release.
Yeah.
Basically, this just shows DC needs to shut up and leave the directors and everything alone, and just let them release the movies they want to release.
That just may be the case. But Wonder Woman, when she first showed up in full costume in Batman vs. Superman, they played that theatrical score and theme of hers, and it was so unique and driving, and
it felt very Greek as well,
and
which is perfect.
It felt like that plus the costume they've designed for the movies. It all felt very evocative, and it just gave me faith in what they were doing with the character.
I agree.
Hearing that music, I felt like they put a lot of good work into this, and I'm hoping they put this level of work into the rest of the movie.
And of course, Justice League.
Justice League.
Another movie. Basically, everything we're talking about, folks, we're really kind of excited about. I'm not gonna lie, but Justice League. This has been a movie that has been kind of in the works for over 30 years.
Yeah. It's on and off, but there have been a good few different versions of the movie in what we like to call development hell or development lingo.
Ever since what's it?
Limbo.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what the original treatment was. But
Michael Keaton, the original. If I'm remembering this correctly, the original pitch for a Justice League movie took place during the Michael Keaton era of Batman.
Yeah.
That's 30 years ago, nearly.
Yeah.
So this has been running around Warner Brothers' heads since then.
And due to one reason or another,
Schumacher,
it has not worked out until now. Even though we had another concept as recently as 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, which that one would have included Common as Jon Stewart. Fun fact: go look up the cast for that version. using that tidbit as a starting point, it's a very interesting cast we would have had.
You know, Frank Crime was telling me, do you know who was originally, this prequel trilogy of Star Wars was in the works from the early 90s on, right?
Right.
You know who, according to Frank, he heard that one of the, who was originally supposed to be Mace Windu?
Who's that?
Tupac.
Huh. Oh, yeah. He told me that.
Yeah,
That would have been wild.
Because apparently, from what he was saying, I'll believe Frank on that because Frank knows a lot of entertainment trivia. So I'd buy that he was in consideration for that before his death.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting if that is true and that had happened. That would have been very interesting.
But yeah, this new Justice League movie, we haven't been getting much. We've gotten a couple of teasers and trailers, and every once in a while they release a set photo that can be found out there.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been playing it pretty close to the chest, which is fine with me because I feel like a lot of movies overshare these days.
Sometimes. But one movie isn't sharing at all.
I can wait.
I want a Star Wars trailer. I'm going through withdrawals. Look at me, I'm shaking.
But yeah,
Sorry, I just had to say that. But speaking about Justice League,
it's like outside of a few short clips from Dawn of Justice, this will be the first time we see most of the Justice League on screen together, and at all in a couple of ways.
Jason Momoa. I first came across Jason Momoa on Stargate Atlantis as Ronan Dex. That's where I came across him the first time. I loved him as the character. Ronan ended up being one of my favorite characters in the series. Such a very unique character in a lot of ways. A man of honor in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I've followed him through a lot of other things. Watched a bunch of his other movies and the like too. He currently has a Netflix series
called The Frontier or something
like
that, right?
Yes. I am.
Which is about the frontier.
Yeah. He's a fur trader, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to start watching it very soon. I just haven't had the time to.
Yeah.
But Jason Momoa is in it as well, and like I said, I've been a fan of his since Stargate Atlantis. So
yeah. Ezra Miller, it looks like he's going to be a very interesting take on the Flash. I think they've done a good job of making him very distinctive from the CW TV version of Flash.
Yeah, they had to.
Yeah.
Because if you tried to copy that, Grant Gustafson was going to kick his ass. Acting-wise and fan polling-wise.
Probably. Well, I will say it is funny since we have two Barry Allens and neither one is blonde.
That's true. Although, Ezra Miller said this thing in a quote, he'd love to meet Grant Gustafson in the Speed Force. I will sometimes wonder if maybe that's a hint that we'll see a multi-universe story or something. That would be awesome.
It's possible. It would be. If nothing else, I could very easily see them doing as an Easter egg. Ezra is running through the Speed Force, and he sees a clip of Grant.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I'd enjoy that.
But
that'd be a cool Easter egg.
The Justice League movie.
Hint.
The Justice League movie, for the little that we have seen, is looking promising.
It is, and there were a lot of people who were skeptical about Ben Affleck as Batman. And I always said to him, any issue you've had with him, the main thing I keep hearing is Daredevil. He had nothing to do with that script. His acting was perfect.
Yeah.
But the script was crap. It's another example of trying to do too much with what you've got.
Yeah. Like, the thing I feel about Ben Affleck is that he is at the right level of comic nerd where he sits there and he goes, I'm not gonna be the guy who goes down in history as the person who did this character wrong. And
Val Kilmer!
And that means, and that doesn't mean he's necessarily gonna my way or the highway it, even though he does have the potential to do that.
He does, but he's not writing anymore.
No, he's
writing. He's not directing anymore. The Batman.
Which I feel like him relinquishing the directing role on the Batman is a sign of him showing that he doesn't want to have to divide his attention between directing and acting when he also has writing and producing to take care of. Mm-hmm. And two, he wants to do things the right way, and he's willing to listen to others to help do that.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
So I'm looking forward to seeing more of his take on Batman.
Yes, I think we can both agree we are Batfleck fans here.
Yeah.
We are fans of the Batfleck. Any other movies you want to talk about? Because I'm good.
Not until maybe the next episode.
Yeah, after next episode, I will have seen John Wick, and
I'll probably have seen Lego Batman.
Yeah. And gaming. Yes. Mind if I take the lead on this one?
Go for it.
Okay. I'm going to start off with the DC game. And that is Injustice 2. We have an official lineup from their website.
It's pretty cool.
It is. We have the lineup is Black Canary, Robin. It'll be Damian Wayne Robin, Brainiac, Poison Ivy, Bane.
Nobody cared who I was.
Until I put Batman, Blue Beetle. That kind of surprises me actually, because that's
interesting choice.
Yeah, Flash, and it's Barry Allen. Harley, and it looks like she's going to be in a variant costume. It looks like it's very similar to her Suicide Squad costume.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. So, from the images we're seeing here, it looks similar to that. Superman, of course. Supergirl. Wonder Woman. Deadshot, Gorilla Grodd,
I'm excited about Gorilla
Aquaman, and Atrocitus. And if you pre-order, and it's still available for pre-order, you get Darkseid. And here's, if you pre-order with just the you get Darkseid. If you get the digital deluxe edition, you get transform Supergirl into Power Girl with an all new voice, look, and dialogue, plus one exclusive gear shader pack.
You also get 3 DLC fighters.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who those are yet.
Yeah, it's not revealed yet. Also, if you get the Ultimate Edition, you get 9 DLC fighters, 3 premier skins, which transform Flash, Green Lantern, and Supergirl into alternate characters with new looks and voices and dialogue. The Green Lantern skin changes Hal Jordan into Jon Stewart.
Which is pretty cool.
The alternate Flash skin turns Flash into Reverse Flash, and it's the same Supergirl and Power Girl skin, and you get 2 gear shader packs, the Destroyer and Defender shader packs. and it was the Defender Shaker Pack you got in the Digital Deluxe.
So, Injustice 2, I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this game. Especially, like, the popularity of the Injustice first game has managed to sell DC a lot of comics, which is very impressive.
Yeah, and, you know, NetherRealm Studios, who is, of course, Mortal Kombat, did a hell of a job putting together the first really good DC Comics fighting game.
Yes.
I mean, they stumbled a little with their first attempt.
Because it was a crossover.
Yeah, the crossover game had a couple of flaws with it, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Which was, of course, DC Universe versus Mortal Kombat. And it was good. I liked it. It was fun, but the mechanics weren't that. Had a couple of issues. But this one, Injustice was awesome. In Injustice 2, I'm looking at screenshots and everything right now on here. It is looking incredible. I mean, and I know there are people who are just dying to be able to play Atrocitus.
Yeah.
I mean, Big Joe.
Yeah.
Big Joe wants to play Atrocitus so badly.
Which, if you're not familiar with Atrocitus, he is the leader.
Yeah, that's a fair, leader.
He is the de facto leader
Of the Red Lantern
Lanterns,
Corps.
The Red Lantern Corps, whose emotion on the emotional spectrum is rage.
Yes.
So he's basically the biggest, angriest one.
Yeah, and he is one mean. Here's what they've got a quote under each of them. And his quote is, "Our hellish hate will burn you all." Red Lantern Atrocitus seeks revenge against all members of the Sinestro cohort for their murderous oppression of his homeworld. His hate blazes a path across the galaxy, leading him to Earth. Sensing an opportunity on the post-regime planet, Atrocitus focuses on bolstering the Red Lantern ranks by stoking the flames of rage. I think we're going to see individual stories for these characters, it feels like.
Yeah, it seems that way. Which is a good sign.
Yeah. If you played old school Mortal Kombat, and they did it with the towers in the newest one, you got the little story at the end of what they were doing.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. So we've got that coming out, and I'm really excited about that. Injustice comes out. What's the release date?
Let me see. I mean, we're seeing here.
Yeah. May 16th.
So we're only a couple of months away from that.
Yeah, May 16th. There's, of course, a game coming out next month that we must speak of.
The long-awaited.
Yes, March 21st, 2017, I'm getting my heroin back. Because I am addicted to these games, something fierce. N7 Day, this past year, I spent the entire day downloading Mass Effect 1 so I could play it on my Xbox One.
Yeah.
And 2, and 3. So Mass Effect Andromeda comes out March 21st. I marathoned Mass Effect 3 when it came out, by the way. I beat it in 3 days. And I marathoned Citadel when it came out, too.
Mm-hmm.
I started a new campaign just to play through Citadel.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I marathoned that, and it took me 4 days. Because I had to work. But it comes out.
I will say, Mass Effect is one of those series that has a very passionate fan base.
Oh, yeah, it does. It really does.
That is a slight understatement.
Ish.
And I will say, people were a bit of two minds when it was announced that there was a sequel to Mass Effect 3. Because while people enjoyed playing the game, the ending of Mass Effect 3 left.
A lot to be desired.
That is a common opinion in the fan base for Mass Effect.
I love the game. And most fans will tell you this. Mass Effect 3 is an excellent game. Great story. Excellent gameplay. Until the last 15 minutes. That is the opinion held by the vast majority of us. Because you've done all these choices and everything. And even with the Citadel and extended pack, and the extended ending pack you download for free, you still are limited to 4 choices.
Yeah.
You know, you've done all these things, and you're committing genocide one way or the other almost, and almost all of them in some way. Yeah. Except the
spoilers.
Yeah. Well, everyone's played it. Everyone who's going to play it has pretty much played it by this point, unless you choose the control option, in which case, in a lot of ways, you turn almost into Nazi Shepard.
Yeah.
Which is supposedly the, Paragon choice. The renegade choice is kill them all. But you do that, you kill off the Geth, too. If you save them at Rat... it's just...
Yeah, so like I said,
yeah,
passionate fan base.
Yes.
Passionate fan base.
And even with that, I still replay these games all the way through.
And there is still a lot of excitement for Andromeda.
Because you know what? I always choose the kill option. I do. Because my headcanon is that Shepard would have found a way, is that not Shepard, but Edie would have found a way to save herself in the Geth. That's my headcanon. Leave me alone. And because I always have enough war assets that I'm able to keep my Shepard alive. Because after the credits and everything, there's a scene at the very end where you're seeing the rubble of the Citadel, and then you come across a pair of N7 dog types, and then you see Shepard lives. If you had enough war assets and allies and everything, you can keep Shepard alive through the end of 3.
Interesting.
This game actually, though, starts off the beginning of the game. The introduction and everything does not start off after 3. It starts off during 2. The Andromeda Initiative leaves Earth during Mass Effect 2.
Interesting.
It leaves this galaxy during that time period, and then it flash forwards 600 years later. So they have no idea about the Reaper War or anything.
Right.
So this is a smart way of doing this story, of doing another Mass Effect game, because of how 3 ended.
Yeah.
With this limited choices, you really couldn't continue on from that.
That was always my understanding.
Yeah, it would be very difficult to continue on that story. But this way, they're doing it in a fashion where you're playing characters who know nothing of this fight, who know nothing of the Reaper War. The Reapers were still just rumors from a renegade Spectre, the Shepard. But it's definitely very interesting, and I'm personally looking forward to it. Give me just a second. Sorry, I got a message from one Josh Mason.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We will have our review. So I'm really excited about it. There is, of course, you can pre-order it right now still, and I was just talking to one of my game advisors at the Covington GameStop, which is where I go because I live in Tipton County, and you can still pre-order the deluxe edition right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is unusual, because usually those close down early. They have not closed it down yet. You still have a little while to pre-order it. Go ahead, pre-order it. It's $69.99 for the deluxe edition, $59.99 for the standard.
Oh, that's not bad. Only a $10 increase.
Yeah, and you get new extra armor, better armor, and the like if you get the deluxe edition, and you get the pet if you go to Mass Effect Andromeda or MassEffect.com rather. They're doing the entire site has been transformed into the Andromeda Initiative, and you are able to get a new helmet in game if you watch 6 briefing videos. I think they've released up to number 4.
Oh, okay.
So register with it, watch the videos, and then you're going to get a code to. You have to watch them before release day. You will get a code to get that helmet, the Pathfinder helmet.
Yeah.
So that is definitely something there's definitely a lot of cool things coming in Mass Effect Andromeda. There's the cinematics and everything look incredible. I could go on and on and on about Mass Effect.
And you have.
And I have. I've spoken a lot about it, and I'm sorry. But
I'm just busting your chops.
I know you're busting my chops, but you're right. I have. We also have one other thing I have to talk about. 2 others. I play 2 MMOs. One of which is Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Right.
Big fan of Star Wars: The Old Republic. And I've been playing it. I'm a subscriber, so I can play the extended storylines.
Right.
And I'm just finishing up Knights of the Fallen Empire. And the next one is Knights of the Eternal Throne. I am just finishing up Fallen Empire, and I will be doing Eternal Throne next. I have to say this, because I did not use my starting character, because I was not anywhere near ready enough to be able to cross over to that. If you do it, and you do create the level 60 character it allows you to, go ahead and do it, because the storytelling there is incredible. BioWare, who makes Mass Effect, makes The Old Republic, and it is an incredible game. It is very entertaining. The combat mechanics are great. I really personally enjoy it. I don't know if you've ever played it.
I've played the original KOTOR, but that's about it.
Yeah, the Knights of the Old Republic. Now, there's an old school game. That was a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
I played it as well. But again, if you like the decision-based things in Mass Effect, they've carried that over to the Old Republic.
Okay.
It is a really cool game. And my final one, and I want to talk to you about mobile gaming in a minute, because I know you're big into mobile gaming.
Yeah.
My last one is Star Trek Online. And I know that's sacrilege, being a Star Trek fan and a Star Wars fan. I know I'm going to hell, but I am both. Star Trek Online has recently come to consoles. It's within 6 months?
Mm-hmm.
It came to consoles, and they've been slowly upgrading the consoles to the point where they are online, on the computer, the PC version.
Yeah.
The most recent expansion for Star Trek Online console version is the Agents of Yesterday expansion, which allows you to create a 23rd century character and interact with the crew of the USS Enterprise during Kirk's era.
Nice.
I've done this online. I have yet to do it on my console. I'm a lifetime subscriber with Star Trek Online. I love this game. It was what got me into MMOs in the first place. And I cannot say enough good things about this game, because they are constantly doing more storylines. Because it's a very storyline-driven MMO, actually.
Yeah.
You can interact with people. You can form fleets, which is like guilds.
Yeah.
And it is they're constantly adding more story material every year.
Right.
They've been they're in season, I want to say season 12 or right now of the storyline because they
Wow.
divide it into seasons, but it's year 7.
Okay.
So it's really a lot of fun. You get to design your own captain. You get to design your uniform. You get to modify your ship. You get to pick what kind of weapons you put on your ship. You can even go off book and you don't have to do the story to level up.
Yeah.
They've got little patrol missions. They've got player versus player, team up missions, and all kinds of things. It is really, there's so many ways to play this game. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, and it sounds like a lot of fun for fans of the Star Trek universe.
It is. It's a massive amount of fun because you can get an NX class.
Nice.
And they just released, I don't know. Okay, Star Trek Online is considered canon for after what was seen in the movie, in the TV shows and movies thus far. And they actually have mentioned the Hobos disaster that creates the incident that sends Spock back in time because you take place 10 years after that.
Oh, okay.
So this is continuing in the original timeline, and Spock's disappeared. But the interesting thing is, the intros to a lot of the different parts of space and everything were done by Leonard Nimoy.
Oh,
So
that's a nice treat.
yeah. So even though he's no longer with us, if you want to hear that wonderful voice of his in a way you haven't before, and you haven't played Star Trek Online, you can go and listen to him talk about the Klingon Empire and how his old friend gave so much to try and bring peace between the Klingons and the Federation. We know exactly who he's talking about, James T. Kirk.
Yeah.
So, and so many of the cast from different series have come back and lend their voices. Nearly all the Voyager cast did it. What's his name? The guy who plays Chekhov.
In
The original, yeah.
oh, I don't know the original.
It's, I feel like an ass for not remembering this. If I hadn't said that, I would be able to tell you.
But
It is the guy who plays Pavel Chekhov. Pavel Chekhov is played by Walter Koenig. That's who it is.
Yeah.
Walter Koenig has also done voice work for them. So is Tim Russ, Ethan Phillips, so many, and it is a lot of fun. And I'm very much in love with this game, if you can't tell. I can talk gaming for hours and hours and hours. And of course, we've got Nintendo Switch coming out next month as well.
yeah, Nintendo Switch. We also have a new game coming out that had a beta this weekend.
Right, For Honor.
For Honor, which is a game that combines a lot of different elements. It has a very one of the play modes has a very armies and generals feel, like a Dynasty Warriors game in a way, in the gameplay style. But when it comes down to the game mechanics and how you fight and interact with other player characters, they've instituted a very
Complex,
challenging, and I like to say finesse-based system for fighting.
Yeah, we were watching Zach Bicknell, the owner of Jupiter Comics, stumble his way through it the other earlier.
Yeah.
So he that was.
I've also gotten to play a little bit of the beta with some friends, and you'll find if you're a fan of Dark Souls and that kind of game where there's a lot of great graphics, a lot of really beautiful backgrounds, but also challenging gameplay that doesn't let you just hack and slash your way through everything and button mash. You actually have to like apply yourself. For Honor will probably be a game for you. You can play for one of three factions: the pirates, the Vikings, and the samurai. I think.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a bunch of different classes. And what I find for Honor it really excels at is the customization options for your uniforms, for your characters, the outfits, the color schemes, the emblems you can put on your shields or armor. There's a lot of different options. And it's a beautiful game. Like, the graphics are just phenomenal. So if you like a fighting game that isn't just block, attack, and you want to like feel more part of the action, For Honor is a game you should be looking forward to. Like he mentioned, we were watching Zach play the game earlier, and the whole time he was playing, he was getting annoyed because he realized he was going to have to pre-order the game because he enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, he was cursing his brother-in-law, who's telling him, you need to try this, you need to try this. So, yeah. But I forgot to mention something about Star Trek Online, and you reminded me of it when you said factions.
Yeah.
In Star Trek Online, you can pick one of three factions in the 25th century that you can be a part of. You can be Federation, Klingon, or Romulan. So the three big ones from that. Also on Star Wars The Old Republic, you can pick you're either aligned with the Jedi or the Sith, and once you pick that, you can either be an Imperial Trooper, a Sith. If you pick Sith, you're an Imperial Trooper, a Sith, or a Smuggler. If you choose the Republic, you're either a Republic Trooper, a Smuggler, or a Jedi. I think I don't know if I'm missing any classes there, but those are the main classes.
I unfortunately know nothing about the game, so I cannot fact check you.
Yeah, and I don't have it up.
But yeah, a couple of notes on For Honor, since I just saw them, he had it pulled up. For Honor is actually coming out on Valentine's Day.
Is it?
I do believe that's what it said on the page there. The
Yeah.
initial release date is Valentine's Day.
Ooh.
So, if you don't have any plans,
You don't have a honey.
You can fight your way through your feelings.
Yes.
And this was developed by Ubisoft Montreal, which is actually really good work from Ubisoft.
Yeah. They do a lot of good work though.
So I'm looking forward to that game. I'm probably gonna get it at some point.
I'll probably try it out. I'm not sure if I'll get it, but I'll definitely try it out because I have so many things pre-ordered right now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about online gaming,
Mobile
gaming rather.
Yeah.
You play it far more than I do. In fact, you were fiddling with it just a little while ago, and that is
There's an event going on.
Future Fight.
Yeah, Marvel Future Fight. It's a game produced by Netmarble Studios, and
What's the event right now?
it's leading up to Valentine's Day.
Ah, okay.
But it's a game. If you are familiar with Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Ultimate Alliance 2 that came out on a lot of consoles way back in the day, the main storyline gameplay of Future Fight is very similar to Ultimate Alliance. It's not exactly the same, but it has a very similar feel.
It's got a lot of similar mechanics, yeah.
With a lot of the tagging heroes in and out to do special attacks, things like that, team attacks. And it's a very fun game with an extensive list of Marvel characters with versions both from TV and comics listed among them. We have a whole slew of Avengers, a whole slew of defenders.
Can I say it?
Go ahead.
We have Bill Coulson, Quake, and Mockingbird from S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes, we do.
And Coulson has a special ability where he called Cap and Melinda May. Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. And he's got the Bambino.
But yeah, like Ultimate Alliance, you can unlock.
Sorry.
You can unlock skins for the characters, and a lot of them are either nods to classic comic runs or cinematic universe appearances. Like they recently added Doctor Strange to the game, and you get him initially with his comic book outfit, but they at the same time released the skin where you have the option to get movie Doctor Strange.
Which looks a hell of a lot like Benedict Cumberbatch. They did a good job at that.
It is. They do a really good job with the graphic artwork and graphic design and artwork in that game. I've always thought that was really impressive. There are a lot of different play modes, and really as long as your phone battery stays up, you can play it almost all day with all the different things you can do.
Yeah.
You might die a lot, but there's
You
a lot
will.
of things you can
Not
do.
you might. You will die a lot.
But to delve further into the deep character list, when we got Doctor Strange, we also got a lot of supporting characters from his comic books
And the movie.
and the movie, with us getting Caecilius, Mordo, Wong, the Ancient One, which all movie characters come as their comic book versions with the movie skin optional.
Mm-hmm.
And we've also recently had Ironheart and Medusa added to the game,
Mm-hmm.
along with a couple of new skins from the U.S. Avengers comic book run that's coming out right now, and one from the Monsters Unleashed event that is happening at the moment.
Yeah, there's been a couple of things from Monsters Unleashed, too.
So we have a deep list of characters, really fun gameplay if you enjoy that kind of thing. And a lot of the different play modes are PvP, which is always a fun element to have. And you collect characters, you level them up, you gain new abilities as you do so. It's pretty fun. I have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
And there are other Marvel games out there if you're interested.
Avengers
in them.
Academy. I play it a little bit. It's definitely what basically it is Nick Fury runs an academy, a school for Avengers, and you build it up and you unlock new characters and everything, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. For those who are fond of puzzle games, there's a Marvel Puzzle Quest, which is a match 3 type game. I didn't want to say any specific ones.
Mm-hmm.
And that combines the elements of those games with comic book battles. And then there's also the Contest of Champions game, which is a mobile fighting game, which I would play if I had more room on my phone to hold more games.
Yes.
But it looks really fun. I've tried it before, and it's a pretty nice, straightforward, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Injustice style one-on-one battle game. If you're interested in that, with a lot of interesting Marvel characters, some of which that Future Fight doesn't get.
Yeah. Another game is...
It's the Mutants.
Yeah. Another game, just talking about Future Fight makes me think of this, is Star Wars. The hero, was it
I cannot
Hero
remember.
Battles or something like that?
Something like that.
It's very similar to Future Fight. It's also a lot of fun. I had it on my phone for a while, and then I got rid of it because I don't have enough space for everything I want. But, I think...
Galaxy of Heroes?
The Galaxy of Heroes, that's it.
Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. If you look up Star Wars on the Google Play Store, you'll find it.
Or iPhone's App Store.
Yeah. I only mention Android Google Play Store because I have an Android phone.
And I have iPhone. I have had Android as well, though.
And you'll find there are a few different games out there. And Galaxy of Heroes is made by Electronic Arts.
Yep.
And different publishers make these different games, but they all are good in their own ways. And, mobile gaming used to be something that was kind of
Clunky?
clunky, delegated to only puzzle games. But they've really started to branch out these days. I remember you used to be able to get, you might still be able to get a mobile version of Mortal Kombat X.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's still a thing.
Is it? Oh, awesome.
So I mean, mobile gaming has really expanded in the past year or so. So if you're like me, and you have time where you just want to fiddle on your phone, there's some good games out there to look for.
Yeah. All right. Final roundup. What is it that we've talked about over the show that you're most excited about? Do you think?
Definitely the Logan at the moment.
See, I can't pick. I want Logan. I want Justice League. I want it all.
I will say this: keeping it with the X folks, I'm also really excited to see what we get from the rest of season 1 of Legion, because it is looking to be a very exciting show.
Yeah. There's a lot going out there. There are conventions coming up too. In March, here in the Mid-South, we have Mid-South Con.
Oh yeah, Mid-South Con.
I will be there.
I'll probably be there.
With any luck, with a camera, and probably doing interviews and the like, talking to people, finding out how they're enjoying the experiences. So I will definitely be at that, and I'm probably going to Wizard World Nashville this year, and Hero and Villains Fan Fest, and ABC, and MCFC, and GMX, and
Point is, there's a lot of conventions coming up this year.
Yeah, next year I'm definitely making reservations to go to Dragon Con, but I can't do it this year.
Yeah. So I would suggest, no matter where you are, look into it. There's probably a cool convention in your neighborhood.
Nashville in the weekend of Father's Day. If your dad's a huge geek, go, and you're in Tennessee, take him to Hypericon in Nashville. Look it up. I'll post something on our Facebook page about it. But
all right.
It looks pretty interesting. I've been doing some research onto this because I think I want to go to it as well. All right. I think that's it for this time. I am Andrew Kerr, the man they call Fury. This is
Malcolm Wright.
This has been the MadCap Report. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let your geek flag fly, and I'll see you on the flip side.
Yeah. See you next time.